Okay, I think we're live. It is good to see you. Good to see you, Paula. Hope you're doing well, Paula. It is 1:02. Today, the 26th of 2025. Last week, I think I said 2024. But it takes me a while. Hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see Jocelyn. Good to see Paula. Tonight, we're going to talk about some of the cases that have gone on this week. It's Melissa Wildcard. Hope, uh, and then we're going to cover a couple of cases that we've talked about in the past. But before that, let me play an intro, and I'll be right back. It's good to see everybody. Hope everybody's had a good week. All right, so I'll be right back. Hey, FarQ, how are you? Good to see you. Whoops. All right, I'll be right back. Good to see FarQ. Good to see everybody. All right, so here we are. So we are here. It is good to see everybody. Southern Gal's in here. Hey, Southern Gal, how are you? Good to see you. Jocelyn's in here. Paula Fitzhenry's always in here. She's awesome. Phone's charged here. Melissa Wildcard's in here. Haven't seen Melissa for a while, but hope she's well. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. FarQ's in here. FarQ's awesome. So I was over there on Southern Gal's chat the other night. I think it was last night. I think it was last night. I was listening and driving as always, and something happened with my phone, and I lost all connection. So I couldn't. I was desperately trying to get back onto her live, but I know she was talking about a case that we covered in here. Fettel, is that the name? She's the one that had the radiator problem she took the car to a mechanic, and they found that the pepcock was opened or whatever. Well, Sue Sweddle. Yep. Yep. That's a very, very strange case, and I was trying to chat with you guys about it, but I was driving and I lost connection or some sort. So I don't know what happened. I almost threw my phone out the window. Heather Brown's here. Hey, Heather Brown, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Heather Brown's amazing. All right, so let me get rid of my face. Hope everybody's well. It's been a pretty crazy week again. So what are we going to do first? Let's do this first. I'm going to go to a case. I also have been trying to get this whole case with the Lisa Joe case. Barbara Cotton, is that the name? Barbara Cotton. So I'm beginning to put together some information about that case too. I think that's her. Is that her? Somebody in her family or something like that. But I've been trying to. You just got home from a casino? No shit. That's cool. Hope you won. But I've been trying to put together some a live on that. I'm going to try to hopefully do that next week because I just didn't have enough time to do that. But I've begun an initial investigation into that case just to let her know. All right, so right now we're going to go to. I do want to do this case first here because it's in the news this week again, and we covered this a long time ago. This is the Jennifer Keese case down in Florida, and their family is really trying hard to push for answers on this. It's been 19 years, and we did a couple of lives on this here. And I'll pull up her bio in a second. But Jennifer Keese was last seen at her apartment complex in Orlando, January 24th, 2006. Police had few leads and little evidence, and her family spent thousands of dollars to get the case files. Remember, they got the case files they sued so, but they do have state law enforcement back in charge. There's renewed hope for answers, and this is going to be an interview with the father, Drew Keese, and we'll take a look at this here. I don't know if anybody remembers this case, but we did. Yes, Miss Paula. Dino picks up rich women at Keno. That's too funny. That's amazing. And congratulations. All right, so let's check out this. This Butterfly True Crime. I've been meaning to go over there too. I know I did subscribe to John Paul Jensen to this week, and I'll be checking out some of his stuff soon. But we got some really good creators in here. We got something else awesome, Paula Fitzhenry, and all right. So let's play this here. Let me share this, and then we'll take a look. So this. So this is the latest on that, and it's 9 years. So let's play this.
6, last seen at her apartment complex here in Orlando. Investigators have said they don't have a whole lot of evidence in this case. We know we've seen the security video of a man sitting on her car.
This case right here is very similar to the Huisentruit case, Jody Huisentruit case, where she just left her apartment building and then just disappeared, and nobody's ever seen her since. So this is very similar.
We know the family has spent thousands of dollars to get the case file from Orlando police in this investigation. And the Keese family says people are still reaching out with leads, and they're not giving up. And morning via Zoom, their home is Drew Keese, who is Jennifer's father. And Drew, we appreciate you joining us on Fox 35 News Plus.
Good morning. Thank you.
Drew, the first question I have for you, it's been 19 years now.
So I'll try to pull up a bio on this, but I also want to pull up the image that they got from the guy or the person that they suspected was responsible for the disappearance, but I don't think anybody's ever been able to identify the person that's on the video. So I'll try to look for that because I got it in. We did that on a live, and I probably have it somewhere. So
I'd imagine this is a tough day. And how has this day changed for you over these years?
Second part first, it has actually gotten more difficult. Years don't solve all the wounds and heal all the wounds. That's a fallacy in our mind because it never leaves you. It's just, I don't know, 19 years and cope with it the best we can. Some days are good, some days are not. It's just something that we have to live with, but we're strong people, and we compartmentalize a lot of times, but Jennifer is always with us, and then you have to go on with your regular life to just simply exist, which is hard enough. So it's difficult.
What do you remember
her intelligence.
It's Lisa Joe. Hey, Lisa Joe, how are you? Good to see you. You're doubling tonight. Cool. I was cotton case there, but I'm at the initial kind of stages of investigating that. So I'll be trying to put together a live to go over that case. Meaning to do a live on the so-called, hey Honeybee, how are you? Good to see you. Honeybee's here. The long haul trucker thing. I got one guy that's in the news here, but there's just been so many. I will try to check that out. Yep. Thank you. What was I saying? I said long haul trucker thing, but I'm trying to put together. But there's just been so many other cases that have been going on. Good to see Honeybee here, though. Hope you're well. Thank you. Fire and Ice is here. Is that Thomas? Good to see Fire and Ice in here. Awesome channel. Awesome guys. All right, so let me go back to this. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to do this first. Hold on a second. So we're covering the Jennifer Keith's case here, but I wanted to play this first here because this is the okay, so this is, I think this is the surveillance video here. So this, we did this a little while ago, but this, I think this has the video surveillance in it here.
24-year-old Jennifer Kesse disappeared in Orlando, seemingly without a trace.
Every single second of every single day to us is frantic because we need to find her.
Kesse was reported missing when she didn't show up for work. 2 days later, her black Chevy Malibu was discovered outside of a different condo building than where she lived, about a mile away.
It was like being hit with a ton of bricks.
Surveillance video showed somebody.
So this is that grainy video of the guy or the person.
Kesse's car there, but the person's face was blocked.
So this is the person that they suspected, but you can't really get a good. Looks like he's got kind of. The person's got kind of like a crew cut here, but this is all I got. This is all the evidence.
We cannot see that person.
So let me go back to the interview from yesterday. Hold on a second. Okay, so stop sharing this here. Getting ready to walk home from the local brewery. Hope everybody had a good day. You're at a brewery? That's awesome. And I want to thank Southern Gal for posting all the channels in here. She's awesome at that. She's awesome at everything. Hope you're feeling better too, Southern Gal. All right, so let me go back to this interview here with the dad.
Her love, everything about Jennifer. She was not a problem child. She was always just willing to share. She was very well educated with herself. She had friends galore, and honestly, she just brought smiles to people's faces, and everyone that knew her misses her dearly, and we're not going to stop.
Yeah, this is another one of those strange cases because I think she was leaving to go to work, and then she just disappeared.
Looking for her.
Can you take us back to that day 19 years ago and when you first got the news about what happened and kind of what was going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, sure.
That sucks. I'm gonna get sick here at some point too. I just know. So as soon as February hits, I'll probably get sick. You had a head cold, sinus problems that always make me miss. Yeah. A lot of temperature changes right now. There's a lot of strange weather going on across the country. Places that don't usually get a lot of cold and snow are getting cold and snow, and then a lot of places don't get a lot of heat, get a little bit of heat. Not for us up here. It's pretty much the same winter we get every year. It's just really freaking cold.
Both Joyce, we were at work. I worked out of my home and just worked for
Like below 0 tempered, like lately. The other night it was like minus 12. And last night I think it was like 7 degrees, 7, maybe 10. And you can really feel the difference. Definitely, it's like degrees above. Like,
sorts. And that's a friend of mine works there. And he had given me a call literally an hour into the workday saying, hey, Jennifer had a meeting. She didn't show up. Do you know?
all right, hold on a second. Not cancer. Good. Oh, that's such good news. That's such good news. Okay, good. 18 feels like a heat wave. Yeah. It's amazing how that happens. Oh, I'm so glad, Heather. That is so awesome. So great. But you still need surgery. Okay. Well, we'll be pulling for you there. But I'm glad it's not the C thing. Good. That's awesome. I think it's funny how Texas, Florida, yeah. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm not happy for the surgery thing, but I'm happy that
Where she is. It's very unlike her. And I said, well, no, we live 2 hours away, but I'll give her a call. She'll always pick my phone call up. So I hung up with him, called Jennifer, and for the first time since we gave her phone at 15, she did not answer. It went directly to voicemail. And from that second on, I personally knew something was wrong, and collected Jennifer's mom, and we headed to Orlando an hour and a half after her not.
actually a good C word. Probably not. Yeah, we should celebrate. Celebrate at a Waffle House, maybe.
To work. And 4 hours, we had police on scene, Orlando Police Department.
Okay, so she was. I think I've done a few videos on her. 24. That's green eyes. I mean, she just literally disappeared.
Which the first response was, well, she had a fight with her boyfriend. She'll be back. And they walked out. And that is when Jennifer lost, honestly. So that's how I did this.
Now, why do you think there are still no answers in this?
Why didn't he just say that?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know if I can answer that.
So this case here is real weird because you would think by now that they would have identified that guy that was walking. I mean, it can only be so many people, right? But these people have had the families had a problem with the law enforcement, Orlando Police. They sued the police department to get the files, and they sent them over the files. And I think they've had a few different private investigators on this case, but still no real answers. So this is the latest. This was done a day ago, I think. So this is the latest on her.
Logic that I can use is that Jennifer was trafficked by someone who was not from the country, not from the state, not from the city. No one knew who that person was very good at what he or she did, or a group of them did, and put her out of the country quite quickly by means that are not trackable. It was not necessarily for Jennifer Kesse, but probably for.
I mean, I'm just wondering if they, interviewed, because we took a look at the apartment complex that she was living in at the time. I wonder if they I always suspect somebody that's living around or in the area when stuff like this happens, because you never know. Somebody that was leaving at the same time she was leaving, or, but you never know. You never know what's going on. So, um,
And she probably got pointed out as payment, as something that there's the one to take. And unfortunately, the safest person we knew, Jennifer, uh,
I just hope you're well. That's all I care about, Heather. That's all that matters. You're only 2 minutes away from a casino. Aren't you in, you're in New York, right?
was taken.
For some reason, I was never into casinos. I don't know, maybe because I was drinking so much. I don't know. I was just never one of those people that, I don't know, went to casinos. I don't know why. You would think I would have, but I didn't.
So I would say that anyone would be able to be taken in this world if Jennifer was taken, to be quite honest.
How
Saratoga
hard is it,
Springs?
Drew, to think through those scenarios? I'm sure through the years you've
You're in Saratoga Springs, right? That's a beautiful place. I love Saratoga Springs. We go up there for concerts all the time. Summertime. We're not going up there in the wintertime, that's for sure. All right.
you've gone through so many different scenarios in your head. How difficult is that, not knowing?
It destroys your mind. We're not right anymore. We don't have the thinking processes that we used to have.
She also had a boyfriend that lived, the boyfriend lived, I think, about an hour or so away. I don't know if they've ruled him out. I think they've ruled him out though. But they were kind of, I don't want to say fighting, but they might have been in an argument or something before that. But I think he's pretty much been ruled out because of the distance, but you never know.
It destroys you, the anxiety and the depression. It's constant. You can't get away from it when you know that another human being physically took.
Yeah, just go from one really bad habit to another one. That's what I did. Yes, we always miss Honeybee. Honeybee is just an amazing phrase.
Your daughter against her will, and for 19 years, we don't have a clue, and no one else does either, of where she is. Lucky I'm breathing. We are lucky we are breathing.
We know you've gotten the case files. You worked with a private investigator. Where do things stand on your end?
Well, our team of investigators, we had a team of about 13 of them, as well as our legal team. They did a fantastic job. They had the files for about 2 years, and they developed an entire game plan, and it came down to actionable items that actual law enforcement has to do. And that's when, at the point 2 years ago, last November, two Novembers ago, we reached out to the AG and we said, hey, we want Jennifer's case out of Orlando and FDLE to take it in, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And through some talks and negotiations, we were able to do that. So for the last 2 years, Florida Department of Law Enforcement has had Jennifer's case. And this past year,
Oh, everybody, I get it. We're guys. We're not really all that intelligent. First Amendment protected emoji. That's classic. Oh,
it's going to be put towards trying to find Jennifer, or what happened to Jennifer, through Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And we do know, they're not telling us much, but we know that they are extremely active right now, and they have been for about the last year. Because we get calls from everyone that they're interviewing left and right.
yeah, I think they may. I say this with a caveat, but in this case here, but we'll see.
as soon as they speak to them. We do know that all the evidence has been put back in for DNA and everything just to be looked at again. So it is Jennifer's time. It seems like the resources are there. Hopefully the knowledgeable people that are leading the investigation in FDLE are good enough to
Does that give you hope or confidence even that you'll get the answers that you're seeking at some point?
My hope through FDLE, I don't want to say that they're last hope, but they're pretty much almost the last hope. We hope to either find a direction that we can build on, or to say, hey, guess what? Jennifer is gone. I don't think that she's ever going to be found until someone literally digs her up or walks on top of her, as so many long-term missing happens.
A lot of these cases come down to somebody just, being free from whoever they were under the control of, coming in with a tip. I've seen a lot of these cases come down to, somebody gets incarcerated over the years, because people who do these types of offenses usually get into trouble again, and then they usually squeal in the jail or the prison they're in, something like that. But this case is definitely solvable. So I think they may be getting than they were before this year.
But I think Jennifer has a very good chance of at least getting a feel of what happened. Again, it's going to take a long time because honestly, how government work. And
it's John Paul Hansen. I just subscribed to your channel today. Awesome channel. Great stuff. Always good to see that. Definitely going to try to promote your channel here. That way you can throw your channel in here. But I was over there tonight. Did it. Anyways, let's go back to this.
the wheels of government work slowly, and we just have to go with the pace of which they work at.
What would that mean to you to get some answers after all these years?
That's a dumb question. That's got to be the dumbest question I've ever heard in my life. I mean, why would you even ask? That's the stupidest question I've ever heard. Well, it wouldn't mean much, just some people are just really, maybe it's the delivery of the question that he asked. Maybe that's what it was, but I don't know, just an absurd question, really.
All we want is to know where Jennifer is, dead or alive. We just want to know that our daughter has been found.
You are a great human being, Southern Gal. Honeybee and Southern Gal. Oh. Everything she's amazing. So isn't Southern Gal. Thank you for putting that in there, Southern Gal. Yes, Southern Gal is super fast. If you ain't subscribed to Honeybee, she's amazing. She's a great person. She has great stuff. Just an amazing person.
That's all we're looking for. I'm not interested. I don't think Joyce is interested.
Oh God, that made my night though. Thank you, Heather. Yes, everybody in this chat is awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, she's quick. Southern Gal's quick. She's like on acid in here. Look at her. She's going right off the JP. She's got everybody's chat in here. Plus my ability kid have worked hard, I bet. I still haven't checked that out. I'm sorry. It's been a really long week for me, really quick shit. It's just the nightmares keep coming here in my life right now, but we're good. But I'll definitely check that out. I think I've seen the Billy the Kid video. The whole community is awesome. We're doing such a good job. Good work. I see a lot of great creators coming up. Yes, it's been freaking bone-chilling cold. I don't know what we did to deserve this, but it's just been really cold. You've learned some shortcuts along the way. Yeah. I may never learn those. All right, so let's go back to this year. Frigid. I mean, this could be the coldest winter ever here. It's been really cold.
Anything else other than just simply knowing that we have recovered our daughter in some way, shape, manner, or form. And then honestly, we'll go away. We'll walk away. But until that point, there is no quit. There is no walking away. She's us. We created her. So we love her unconditionally and we won't stop.
I did hear you talking about that the other night about the heat in Australia, and somebody said it was like 100. I would take 100 now for sure. I love heat. It can't get hot enough for me, man. It's, when you get to be my age, cold is just not good. Cold just hits you right in the bones, and it just doesn't let go. Heat is good. If it's heat, this is what's the saying, the nightmare persists, but so do I. Yeah, that's so freaking true. Oh. The horror persists, I think. Yeah, one of them. I think it's both of them. Oh, that means such to me. I try to voice over. All right. I love spiders. Spiders are amazing. People don't realize exactly what spiders do. They're just amazing creatures. Yeah, John Paul Jones chat is awesome.
Do you think she could still be alive?
John Paul Jensen. There we go.
Depends on who you ask in the family. I think that we taught Jennifer at a very young age to fight. We're held up at gunpoint before we had children, and we knew from that point on we had to be safe. And that's why I say,
to me, there's nothing more interesting than watching a spider, one, create a web, and two, catch their prey. It's just so awesome. It's arachnids. Remember that movie Arachnophobia? That was probably one of the worst movies ever. I love spiders. I just do. I'm one of the guys, like it was one of the gas stations I stopped in at night. Woman was freaking out because there was this tiny little black spider on her keypad thing, and everybody was freaking out. They were gonna kill it. So I just like, don't kill it. I just put it outside. I'm one of those guys. Of course, the spider probably got eaten by a bird shortly after that, but at least it made it out of the store. But I love spiders. Yeah, Kristen loves spiders too. I love spiders just as much as she does. I think she actually owns some jumping spiders. I'm not sure.
Jennifer was the safest person that we knew because
Steve, True Crime likes spiders too.
we taught her. But I don't think she's with us anymore.
I know.
I think her mom believes that there is an absolute possibility that she is still with us.
That's a classic. It's Mustang 65 is in here. Good to see you, Mustang 65. I keep wanting to say Mustang 1965. It's their mandibles. Yep. Nothing like an ant, though. A colony of ants will just kill just about anything. Spiders, well, the spiders over in Australia, yeah, you probably don't want to mess with those. But spiders around here, I don't think they're all that bad. They kill all the other bugs, so that's the good news. I'll take anything over centipedes, though. Yeah, centipedes are a little weird. I like bees. Bees are good. Bees are fantastic. Honeybees are great. All right.
And you'd have to ask her brother.
Okay,
And I really don't know where he sits on that.
Jennifer was 24 years old. Do you ever think about the life she should be living or would be living today, and what that would be like?
Sure. Sure, I'm a grandfather now, and I think I would have been a grandfather before I was made a grandfather, in the way it happened. I think Jennifer was probably,
Yeah, it's just like Florida, right? Like, there's around here in the Northeast, you got lakes and streams and ponds and stuff like that. Nobody ever thinks twice about jumping into a lake or a pond or whatever. But down in Florida, it's probably not something that's recommended, like to just jump in a pond, or you might never make it out. uh, yeah, bees are amazing. Bees are definitely amazing creatures, and they're just disappearing off the face of the planet for some reason. It's interesting. Bees are quite complex from what I am learning. Oh, most insects are pretty amazing.
being close to getting engaged to her then boyfriend. So yeah,
Oh, I know.
we look at what Jennifer missed out on she had her whole life in front of her in reality. I mean, she was just a couple of years out of college. She just got into a job that she loved, into a home that she was getting used to and liked. So she was on the trajectory going up in life.
I wonder if she had a diary. That's the first thing I always ask, is if they have a diary. Klein at Unsolved. It's all pollinators. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of wasps, though. Bees, I don't mind, because even bumblebees, if you don't mess with them, they probably won't mess with you. But bees are good because bees do a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure wasps do too, but yeah, screw wasps. That's what I say. It's just that they see you. Bees won't mess with you unless you mess with them. They can go right back to hell. I agree. I agree with that 100%. All right, so let's do this here.
And it was very much cut short. So you have to think of that. We had 24 years with Jennifer. That's a lot of life, a lot of living. We brought her up, so we knew who we had there. And Jennifer is someone extremely special, as every child is. And yeah, sure we do, all the time, every day.
Last thing I'll ask you here, Drew. If someone out there knows something, what is your message to them?
Bumblebees, at least you could see, right? If you're like sitting outside and you see a bumblebee, you see it coming. The wasps, they're pretty much hit or miss. You know when one's around you, but by the time you know, too late. Love honey. Yeah, honey's amazing. I'm that person that always gets stung. I mean, I was stung on the ear by a red wasp once. I've never experienced that level of pain. Yeah, I mean, they can do some damage, man. Those bastard wasps in order to peace. No. There's some things on the planet you're like, why?
Just reach out. Just let us know.
I hate those freaking horse flies. Those things are. I'd rather get bit by a freaking wasp than have to deal with a horse fly, because they're fearless. I was stung on my nose by a wasp the size of a baseball. Oh, that sucks. Oh, I don't know if you guys ever see John Reap when he does the bees thing. It's freaking classic. He's one of the funniest people I've ever seen in my life. But when he talks about his dad mowing the lawn and the bees, it's amazing.
We're not here to. I'm not here.
Hey, is that a Hemi?
here to do anything about it other than to get Jennifer back, just to know that we have her recovered, as I said. So go to the police if you feel comfortable, go to a lawyer, go to clergy, go to you folks. It doesn't matter. We don't have to know who you are. We just need a direction or where or someone who does know. And those people exist. They do exist in this world. And I don't know why after 19 years, someone hasn't had the heart to step forward, but please believe me, lives have been ruined, lives have been destroyed. And it's just time for Jennifer's sake, for no one else, but Jennifer's sake, for her to come to light and be found. So we can just move on and move on with life.
All right. Drew Kesse.
This poor guy, you just wish you could do as much as you can for. I know I'm subscribed to all of these guys, all of these families' Facebook pages, and I try to offer as much sympathy as I possibly can. But you just, these things, like you said at the beginning of this, it's 19 years later, it's not like it gets any better. Just imagine. All right, so I'm going to play one more on this. Give me a second here. I want to play the News Nation thing. Wifey's here. I know who that is right away now. Don't mess with my dogs. Yeah. You can have my dogs. It's Woman Doing Chaos. Hey, woman. Good to see you. Yeah, the red ants in Florida are bad, too. The red ants are... they are who we thought they were. The red ants and army ants, all those ants, not good. All right, so this is the News.
Imagine.
Oh, a second here. I want to back up. So this is the one that News Nation did. What the hell is going on?
What these anniversaries? 10 years after.
And this was done. So she left for work in 2006, never returned home. This was done a day ago too, so this guy was busy yesterday. But this one, they talk a little bit about how they're NASA's getting involved kind of in the search, because I think they're really trying to get a good image of that vehicle that guy might have been driving or something like that.
Her disappearance, Jennifer was officially declared dead by the state of Florida. Since then, the Orlando Police Department has handed the case files over to the family, who've now hired a private investigator hoping for answers. They also enlisted the help of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the FDLE, which is now heading the investigation. And today, the FDLE announced, we have conducted more than 50 interviews, reviewed tens of thousands of documents and pieces of evidence from the Orlando Police Department, and worked hundreds of hours, not only re-examining the past investigation, but also developing new avenues that need to be helped.
Florida Department of Law Enforcement, we have conducted more than 50 interviews, reviewed tens of thousands of documents and pieces of evidence. So they were going over the case again. That means that they're probably doing a cold team or cold case team on this here. Hundreds of hours re-examining the past investigation avenues that need to be explored. So this whole thing started back in 2006. So I'm sure that there's more technology now going on. I wonder if they were able to maybe lift something from the car. Because I know that there was some sort of a impression left on the front of the car. Is that this case? I'll have to look into that. Okay, so let's go.
Jennifer's parents and loved ones. I'm joined now by Jennifer's father, Drew Kesse. Drew, thank you so much for being on. I'm so sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. I can't imagine what these anniversaries are like. And this one's 19 years. New avenues. When I see we are developing new avenues, I get hopeful. Do you?
Yes, and thank you for the time. Good evening. That was the first time I heard that statement, to be quite honest with you, and that was a very positive statement in my eyes, to be quite honest. FDLE finally, after 18 years, got involved, and it took them a little while to get going, but boy, they're going now, and I think that it's Jennifer's time in the lineup, I guess, to either be found or not found. But they are truly putting all the resources that they have towards Jennifer.
And I would think extremely frustrating, because as I looked through your files, I saw that in 2010, you wanted the Orlando police to declare this a cold case, because then more resources would be, dedicated towards it. But the police back then said, no, it's still active. And yet you pull out the files and it appears there's no investigation from 2012, 2 years later, to 2019, like 7 years of doing nothing. I mean, that just must be so frustrating.
Yeah, that's and
Was that Dane Cook who said that? Bees been crazy. I mean, lots of them up here. Yeah. Bumblebees can. Yep. The word on the street though is once a bee stings you, it probably dies. I don't know if that's true or not. Heather, if they do, but it hurts. They're big. Yeah. Thing with bees, that's what I'm saying though. Bees won't really mess with you unless you mess with them. Wasps are different. If you're around anywhere around them, they can come at you. I always thought bumblebees are queens because they're big. Honeybees walking all over my arms, no stings. Yeah, I mean, sure.
And we found that out, unfortunately, after winning the files through a lawsuit, and only come to find out that our lead detective that in those years investigating, and come to find out that she did not write a single word for 7 years, as you said.
That's just unacceptable, right? It's just, they can't tell the family anything. So even if they're not doing anything on the case at all, they can't tell them that either. So the family sits there and waits for 7 years. And I know that in this case particularly, they didn't do anything at all. So they had a jump start. The suspects had a jump start. They weren't looked into at all. And as far as I'm concerned, it's unacceptable.
So it's a good thing that it's out of Orlando. I honestly don't think that they had the talent to do what's needed to do in a long-term missing persons case. And honestly, they created the long term of it. But this is what we live with, and we move forward every day.
All of these exceptions with me, though, like I'd be the only person where if I got stung by a honeybee or something like that, the stinger wouldn't stay in me. So, yeah, that wouldn't work in my case. Toxins help them. I know some people are allergic to bee stings, right? Yellow, black, small ones. Those are yellow jackets. Are those called yellow jackets?
Because we have unconditional love for Jennifer, and we're just not going to give up until we find her.
So I was looking at the evidence in the case, and there's actually more than I realized.
So let's do this here while we're doing this. Because some people don't know anything about this case. So I know I did a couple of videos on this. I've been in contact with the parents. All right, so this is the write-up on her. Basically, born May 20th, 1981. American woman from Orlando, Florida, been missing since January 23rd, 2006. Shortly after she vanished, Keis's car was discovered parked around a mile from her home. Security footage recorded a person of interest parking Casey's car and walking by. So they got this guy parking her car and then walking by a security camera. But the individual could not be identified due to poor camera quality. And that's what we just saw. a fence blocking the view, and the absence of any visible distinguishing features. As of 2025, no one's been arrested, and she's never been found. So, Kesey was last known to have been seen when she left work at approximately 6 p.m. When she left work at approximately 6 p.m. on January 23rd, 2006. She spoke by phone with her father while driving home at around 6:15, and then with her boyfriend at around 10 p.m. She was leaving work, so it was unusual when she did neither the next morning. His call went straight to her voicemail. So I think she was last heard from 10 p.m. That's what I think. When Kesey failed to arrive at work, her employers contacted her parents, who set out on a 2-hour drive from their home to hers. Kesey's parents noticed that the car was missing, but saw nothing out of the ordinary in her home. So it doesn't look like there was a home invasion there. A wet towel and clothes laid out, among other things, suggested that she had showered, dressed, and prepared for work that morning. Friends and family distributed flyers and all of that shit. Times are approximate. So this is the timeline here. Am I sharing this? Yes. 7 to 8 investigators initially believed that Kesey was abducted, and she was walking from her front door to the car. So they believe that she was abducted as she walked to her car from her apartment. They now believe that she left and was abducted at some point on her way to work. So they might have changed this. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Kesey's boyfriend, whom she would normally call but did not, calls her on her way to work, but it goes directly to voicemail. See, there's a lot of hours here, though, between 10 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. that anything could have happened between 10 p.m. and 7:30 to 8 a.m. So he chalked it up to a meeting she had mentioned to him. His subsequent attempts are likewise unsuccessful. Kesey's parents called him to say that she failed to show up at work. So that's just some of the information. And please confirm that it is Kesey's 2004 Chevy Malibu. The vehicle is photographed and taken for a forensic examination. But this is a few days, I think, afterwards. Police examined local surveillance footage and discover an unidentified person parking her car and walking away. So whoever this is parked her car and walked away from the car. But I'm wondering if the car was just in the way and the keys were left in the car. And maybe they just moved it. I don't know. This guy might not have anything to do with it. All right, but let's get back to this here. Let me share this here, and then we'll move on to something else.
There's a witness who saw Jennifer's car swerve out of the condo complex. There's handprints and scratches on her car that might indicate a struggle. The car appeared to have been cleaned down when it was found around noon. The work, or at least when it was parked around noon, not that it was found at noon, but parked. The guy who was dressed as the worker painter, they can see him walking. So they've got the gait of how he walks. And there was a skeleton key for Jennifer's building that had gone missing a year earlier. All of those things seem as though it's more than the usual case gets. But is there even more evidence that maybe you don't know about or they haven't shared with the public?
We do know that there's physical evidence from the car that there are hairs that are not matched up to anyone's car. We were told that there was only 3 latent fingerprints, but once we won the file, there was over 100 fingerprints in the car, and some of them not identified.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 2006 is such a long time ago. I think back then they couldn't get mitochondrial. They couldn't get actually nuclear from just a hair. It needed the bulb, right? So now they can get mitochondrial from the hair. So maybe they're working on something like that. I don't know.
At this time. And we do have to remember technology has come so far since 2006. We didn't even have Google Earth in 2006. It was in beta. So we were still tapping twice on our phones for.
Honeybee's leaving? Oh, that sucks. Honeybee, good night. Hope you have a good night. Hope you're well. Stay warm. It's not going to get warm here again until July. Always good to see Honeybee here in the chat. She's amazing. Yeah, I think so too. I think this case here, in my opinion, is very similar to the now I forget her name. Judy Husenfruit. Is that her name? Jody Husenfruit. The news reporter there. I think somebody. It's possible that somebody who was there living in that or associated with that development there, that condominium development, just might have been in the right place at the wrong time and took her. But who knows? I don't know.
Letter B when we were texting, things like that. So it's come a long way. Unfortunately, it just didn't help Jennifer at the time.
We covered this. I think it was over the last spring. I think we did two lives on. I think it was 2 lives on Jennifer here.
Well, hopefully they can apply the investigative genealogy technology to those hairs and maybe come up with something. Please keep us.
I don't know if they've ruled out the boyfriend. I don't. There was construction workers that were working close to her apartment. But like I said, a lot of times I know they've been. I know what they did is they sent out some sort of flyer to some of these local jails and prisons to try to drum up some leads that way, because I think that they might have some sort of knowledge that this person might be incarcerated or knows somebody who's incarcerated, so they may be trying to get some leads that way.
We want to follow this case because it feels like there's some momentum here at year 19, and our best to you on such a sad anniversary.
Yeah, we thank you so much.
So that's that on that. I just wanted to share that because this is one of those cases that's really bothered me over the time. And if there's any information, that comes up in these cases, I try to get out there as soon as possible. All right, so let's move along here. Hold on a second while I get some stuff up. Hope everybody's doing well again. Like I said, definitely been a long week here. And since we're doing that, we'll do this one here. I want to do the Rita Jolly case here. Hold on a second. We'll kind of work on this one next. So let's read this together because this has been in the news again here. Hold on, let me share this. Mar's here. R's here. It's good to see Mar. Good to see you in the chat. Always good to see her here. Always good to see these people. We follow each other all over the place. A lot of us. Heather Brown, Mino Dino, FarQ. And when I'm not here, I'm usually in somebody else's chat. You're going to bed too, Lisa Jo? If you are, it's good to see you here. What was I saying? I was saying something about, that's right. Yes, you too. Women doing case. I see women all over the place. We just friends in low places. Let's put it that way. Just kidding. I don't know. Oh, okay. You're stuck at work. Oh, that sucks. You're in the OPS. All right. So let me share this. This is going to be the Charlie Project, and I try to give these people as much money as possible because every time I come in here, they want me to give money. So I usually, it's like $3 or so. These people do such great work. Okay, so this is one of these old cases, and just in the onset of this, I would not be surprised if Ted Bundy is responsible for a few of these. So with this said, this is about Rita Lorraine Jolly, missing since way back, 6/29. I think that's right around my sister's birthday, 6/29/1973, West Lynn, Oregon. So that would be right in the wheelhouse of this guy here. Endangered missing, female, white, 10/6/1955. So she'd be 69. I don't know when this was done. 17 years old, 5'6", 130. She was wearing a brown Pendleton shirt, blue jeans, army fatigue pants, a low-cut blue sneakers with buckskin heels. How do they know this stuff? They must come from the parents or something. Caucasian female, light brown hair, hazel eyes. Rita previously fractured her lower left leg, and the injury didn't heal properly, and as a result, she would walk with an uneven gait. All right, so Rita left a residence on Horton Road in West Lynn, Oregon, at 7:15 p.m., so early that evening on June 29, 1973, to go for a walk, and she never returned. She was last seen between 8:30 and 9 p.m. that day, walking uphill on Sunset Avenue. Rita has never been heard from again. Rita may have been a victim of the serial killer Teddy Bundy. A photograph of Bundy is posted within this case summary. He was gladly executed in Florida in 1989. He is a suspect in a lot of these Pacific Northwest unalivings. We got a lot of these here. Nancy Bard. I think I've covered Susan Curtis before. But all of these and many others, who knows how many people he unalived. The women continue to be listed as missing persons. Their remains have never been recovered. It's worth noting that Bundy did not confess to Rita's unaliving before his death, but he is considered to be a suspect in many unalivings. Rita's disappearance remains unsolved, and her body was never found. And Bundy was never charged or confessed to her unaliving. And foul play is definitely suspected in her case. Okay, so this was updated 4 times since 2004. Last update, 2013. So, been a while. So we have some new stuff here we're going to go to. This was done 1 day ago. So let me share this here. Hold on a second. Stop sharing that. Good to see everybody here tonight, though. Because I know it's late for a lot of people, and all right. So this is coming from KGW News. So this was done a day ago. A 17-year-old girl disappeared in 1973. Over 5 decades later, detectives have yet to find answers as to what happened. So this is this case here.
I think a lot of Rita's artwork was really full of symbolism, and it was really of the time.
This artwork offers a glimpse into the mind of the 17-year-old who created it more than 5 decades ago.
I believe it's my sister, at least a representation of her.
Touching these.
Yeah, I do think that's true. I know that a lot of these unalivers like to brag about stuff like that. But I think they take a lot of stuff to their grave because they know they can. It's all about control with those people. I mean, I'm not an expert, obviously, but it's just like BTK. I trust very. I mean, you got to trust. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to trust anything, but I trust a little bit of what he says. But I think that with him and a lot of these people, the control thing. It's almost like if you don't know and you're not going to ask, and I can keep this with me till I go to the grave. You're going to execute me anyway, so I don't have to freaking tell you anything. The thing with Bundy though is I think Bundy was a little extra with that. Like Bundy, I think Bundy is, I don't know. He could be responsible for 50, 60, 70 other murders and nobody would ever know. I'm not saying that this is one of them, but if it's in the Pacific Northwest and it was in that time frame, there's a pretty good chance it was him. Whoops. All right, so let's play this one.
Pages might be the closest Jill Jolly ever gets to understanding her sister Rita. The young artist disappeared in 19.
She was different in a lot of ways. She was very artistic, very sensitive. Through her bedroom and found all of these writings.
Rita Jolly was last seen by her family on the evening of June 29, 1973. She left her parents' home in West.
Of course, I think it's sometimes a way for law enforcement to kind of just, pawn it off on, it's probably him, without doing a thorough investigation. But I do believe that, if these SKers can be responsible for 10, 15, 20, it's just like BTK. There's no way you can tell me he went for years without doing anything. It doesn't make any sense. So in cases like that, you just wonder. But I mean, a lot of times I think law enforcement will just rest their hat on that. Like, oh, it's probably Bundy, or oh, it's probably BTK. But like I said, if it happened in the Pacific Northwest and it was around time, then it's, the likelihood of it being somebody like that I think goes up.
Lynn on a walk.
I got a phone call the next morning, very early the next morning, from my mother, just desperate. And she said, Rita didn't come home last night.
West Lynn Police and Clackamas County Sheriff's deputies launched a search for Rita.
She was walking along the side of the road towards West Lynn.
Look at this video here. This is a microphone. As you can tell, this is the 70s, right? This is so 70s. Look at the Beetle. Oh my God. Look at these cars. Holy crap. Don't you miss these days, right? Look at this shirt. Good Lord. How much you want to bet she's got bell bottoms on? This is definitely a 70s haircut here.
That was last Friday night about 9 o'clock.
This is film from the KGW archive.
You've mentioned that she took walks.
The Jolly family spoke to us a few days after Rita disappeared.
From all of the appearances and indications, this was merely an evening walk. And we feel that it's a virtual certainty that she's been a victim.
Look at these colors. Look at this jacket.
Victim of foul play.
We thought at the time.
Nothing can ever compare to the 70s, man. The 70s were just the big rim glasses like this here.
Time that if she had been kidnapped, that the best thing that we could do would be to publicize her disappearance as much as possible.
My daughter was not the kind.
About 2 weeks after this interview, her father wrote to the Oregonian saying, I cannot describe to you the depth of our heartbreak.
And there were some sightings of her.
This is just sad, because a lot of these people are probably not alive today. They held up hope for 50 some odd years. It just sucks.
Last sighting that I think was kind of proven was at 8:30 when she was coming up Sunset Avenue. These are pictures of Rita that I found in the case file. Yeah.
Kim Timius with the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is still investigating Rita's disappearance all these years later.
Even clear down at the coast, these people thought this hitchhiking girl could be her, and they actually talked to her, but it wasn't her.
While she says the tips back in 1973 didn't bring.
Where would we be without Mino Dino? And where's Heather? Is Heather still in here? Oh, there she is. Okay, good. I have hung out with Mike Carbo. No kidding. I've always wanted to interview some of these guys. Yeah, it could be anything. It could be anything. That's why I always put kind of like those disclaimers on things, because it could have been such and such or whoever, it doesn't necessarily mean it was. Whoever did this, it could have been anybody. Because how long did it take to catch Bundy? I mean, it could be anybody. Bubs is such a good dude. Yeah, Mino is. Mino is fantastic.
Investigators any closer to finding Rita, detectives did find out that she hitchhiked.
I mean, let's face it. If you're gonna hide a body, this is the place to do it. This is the great, Pacific Northwest. There's nobody out here.
Walking, and the hitchhiking is big to me. Oh yeah.
Today, Timius leads the investigation and brings with her renewed hope of a breakthrough in the decades-old case. Right now, she's taking a close look at suspected serial killer Warren Forrest, although the sheriff's office stops short of calling him a suspect. Life sentences for killing a 12-year-old woman and a 17-year-old woman in the early 70s, and is suspected in the disappearances or deaths of several other women in Clark.
You know what I'm saying? If there's one Ted Bundy, there's going to be others, right? And who knows how many there were out there at the time. So Mike Carbo was responsible for the unaliving of Nancy Doherty. The case was just solved via IGG a few years ago. I think I know who that is. Yeah, this guy here. There's so many of them. The Green River Killer. I mean, there's just so many, especially out here. It seems like the Pacific Northwest has its share for sure.
County.
The first thing I wanted to know was a timeline.
Timius met with Doug Mass and the Clark County Cold Case team in early January to talk more about Rita's case and review Forrest's history.
These guys to talk in jail or prison. That's usually how this happens. They'll usually send an informant in to try to get information. They did that in one case. I think it was in North Carolina where they were trying to get a care to come forward and tell people where one of the bodies was. And he got the information. He just couldn't get it to the person that's in charge of the whole sting operation in time. And I forget who that was. I forget who that case was. But they weren't able. The guy died shortly after that, and it didn't, and never got solved.
We've got 2 victims in 1972, and we got a bunch in 1974. And so, what was happening in 1973?
Greedy, greedy.
Didn't decide just to shut down for a year.
So I'll get some ideas about what they're doing, and I would love to give answers. I won't say closure because I don't think there could ever be closure, but to give them some peace.
As decades have passed, Jill's had time to consider every possibility. Thinking back to the weeks leading up to Rita's disappearance and wondering if Rita just left on her own.
So she was the last one home and trying to deal with her life and the teenage angst and feeling different. I think over time I've tended to gravitate more towards the idea that Rita did run away, voluntarily left, although I have a hard time believing she's still alive and hasn't contacted us.
But none of these avenues have led to answers.
Yeah, it's really hard to know what to do with that grief when you don't know what happened.
And Jill realizes she may never.
I mean, that's the other thing. Back in the early 70s, you had the whole peace movement. You had people flocking to California, right? So you don't know, especially at this age, 17 years old. It's just one of those things where you never know if they just took up and met somebody and hiked to California. You never know. You would think that they would have come to their senses after a few years, though, and maybe contacted somebody, but sometimes people don't.
Never know what happened to her sister.
I wish that we'd all had more time with her that I wish the world had had more time with her.
That's one of the reasons why I always have to ask, especially if it's female, if there was a diary of some sort, because I think in these cases here, especially when it comes to 17-year-olds and stuff like that, it's always good to know a little bit more about the victim, and then what they were kind of going through at the time. Whether, I'm not saying there was any type of essay going on in the house or around, or, I mean, you'd never know. So that's my opinion in victimology, and especially cases like this here, should be investigated too. But back then, they probably didn't.
Ashley joins me now. Ashley, you've been following this for the past several months. Tell us, what stood out to you about Rita?
Well, I feel really grateful that I got to learn a lot about her from her sister. Her sister was very open with me. She loved animals. She had a horse named Sugar, and she spent her senior year of high school at Clackamas Community College.
Yeah, so it's probably a little harder to leave and just leave for good now, especially with, I mean, it's not to the point where you can't do anything without computers anymore, but, it's more CCTV cameras, Ring cameras, stuff like that. You get cops everywhere. I would think it's probably harder to leave now and just go missing than it was back in the 70s, because, I mean, there's no such thing as cell phones or computers or social media then, Facebook, nothing. And you probably didn't have a lot of closed circuit TV either. So it'd probably be a little bit easier. But at the time, the early 70s, it was notorious for just, hitchhiking and going west, right? Going to where, Hollywood is.
She didn't always get along very well with the other kids in school, and so she took a different route. Her sister said she really enjoyed taking ceramics and creative writing, and her sister found a lot of her poetry and writings after she disappeared. And we have one more piece of this interview to share with her sister, and I think it illustrates a lot of her grief.
And I remember thinking, well, we'll grow up, and be more alike. And that we'll grow up and have families together, and we'll be able to share recipes over the phone, and our children can grow up as cousins, and we'll have good times together. I remember thinking that we'd have those years, and to have them just be gone in an instant like that you don't have them. I've spent, my whole life wishing I had a sister.
That's really heartbreaking. You can feel that grief that you were talking about there. Okay, so law enforcement, talk to me about that piece. Any takeaways there?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is that they don't give up, right? 50 years later, these detectives are still looking for answers. And that detective that you heard from, Kim, our interview, was actually pretty emotional. She said she has 2 kids herself, and she can't imagine what this would have been like, what this has been like for the Jolly family for the last 5 decades. The other piece of this is I did not know that they were partnering up with the Clark County Sheriff's Office when I first started looking into Rita's case. That developed a lot more recently.
So talk to us about...
Again, the thing is the poor families, right? They go, especially if it's not solved before they, pass away, it's got to be demoralizing. You hear all the time about it. There's a lot of cases that do get solved, but a lot of cases that don't, and it's one of those things where you just hope for the best, hope they get this stuff done before everybody else dies. It's this is one of those cases though where it could be anything. You name it. We don't have any of the files, so we don't know what's going on. Your 50-year-old cold case here, this should be opened up to more of a public type of investigation than just a private one, because, it wouldn't hurt.
Still searching the series. What can we expect? Where'd the idea come from?
Right. We're there the next day after something happens, right? We're there on someone's worst day, but these stories continue long after that, right? Families spend.
You guys are all awesome. Heather Brown, Mar, Mino, Tino, Southern Gals in here. Southern Gals are amazing. We got, who else is in here? Women Doing Chaos, Wifey. Hope she might be calling her Lisa Joe, all the people that are in here are all awesome. Paulette Fitzhenry, you guys are great. Always great. To stay up and listen to my bullshit at what, 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday is pretty good.
And a long time
Whoops.
searching for answers, and so we want to give them a place to share that. Ashley, now, if there's a cold case in your community that you'd like Ashley and team to look into and potentially shed some light to try and find answers, let us know. The email address is right there on your screen, stillsearching@kgw.com.
So I keep following this one here. This case is probably not going anywhere anytime soon. This is a 50-year-old case, although they did solve one. I'll play this one too while we're here. So this happened in the 70s, and I was going to play this just since we're here. Arrest made in the Honolulu cold case from the 1970s. I think I pulled this up a little while ago. The unaliving of a Honolulu teen in 1977 was solved after an arrest was made thousands of miles away. So here we go.
Shopping center with some friends.
I think this is the press conference. So the sound is going to suck.
And with the Honolulu Police Department's homicide detail. Also with the cold case and strategic enforcement details. Today, I'm about to announce the, Today at approximately 7:40 a.m. with assistance from the Unified Police Department in Utah, a suspect was arrested for a murder that occurred in Honolulu nearly 50 years ago. I will be giving an overview of this case, which led up to the arrest.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can fix that, Lisa. So I'm going to do the best I can with getting information on that. And I'll probably be doing a live on that fairly shortly. I'm pretty sure that Southern Gal's already done one on that. But we'll try to get some information out there as much as possible.
On March 21st, 1977, shortly after 7:30 a.m., HPD officers responded to McKinley High School on a report of a possible homicide on the second floor of the English building. The arriving officers found a 16-year-old female victim, later identified as Dawn Momohara, lying on her back, partially clothed. It appeared that she had been sexually assaulted, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Several personal items were recovered at the scene, including her purse, slipper, shorts, and other evidence. An orange cloth was tightly wrapped around her neck. Homicide detectives learned Dawn was a sophomore at McKinley High School. The morning before she was killed, Dawn had received a call from an unknown male. Later in the day, she told her mother that she was going to Ala Moana Shopping Center with some friends. That was after her mother saw or heard from her daughter. An autopsy was performed by the chief medical examiner, which determined that the cause of death was asphyxia due to strangulation, and the manner of death was declared homicide. Dawn had sustained injuries around her neck where the orange cloth had been used to strangle her. The medical examiner further related that Dawn sustained injuries consistent with sexual assault. Scrapings recovered from the scene and during autopsy were examined and determined to be seminal fluid with the presence of spermatozoa. As part of this investigation, detectives interviewed numerous friends, family, and acquaintances of Dawn. One witness reported that on the night before Dawn died, between 9 and 10 p.m., he and his girlfriend drove through McKinley High School campus and observed a car.
This was 1977, a year after the bicentennial year. So.
And a male near the English building. The car was parked on the grass, and a male was observed walking out from the ground floor steps. The witness circled his car back around, but the male and the car had already left. The witnesses at that time described the male as an Asian male, approximately 18 to 22 years old, between 5'5" and 5'7" tall, approximately 140 to 150 pounds, with light tan complexion with dark wavy shoulder length hair that was combed back. He was wearing a plain light blue pullover type collared short sleeve shirt and a dark color.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for posting that here. Yeah, I'll come up with something. I don't like to make guarantees, but I'll definitely do something about that for sure.
Long pants with an unknown type of footwear. The witnesses described the vehicle as either a 1974 or 1975 Pontiac Le Mans, Buick Century, or Buick. He said the vehicle was a two-door hardtop with a white vinyl top and red or maroon bottom, large rear wheels and white raised lettering and grille-type louvers. A second witness confirmed the vehicle description. A composite sketch of the male was released to the public, but failed to provide any substantial leads at the time. On March 28, 1977, detectives interviewed Gideon Castro, later identified as the suspect in this case. He stated that he had known Dawn since the latter part of 1976. Since the 1976 school year, had met her at a school dance. Gideon graduated from McKinley High School in 1976. He stated Dawn was friends with him and his brother William. He said that Dawn called him occasionally when he was still attending McKinley, and that he last saw her at the McKinley Carnival in February of 19.
Thank you, Southern Gal. Well, just be careful. That story about her boyfriend watching her walk into a recreation park. Police don't even know where that came from. Yeah, I just we'll look into it for sure.
1977, where they talked for about 15 minutes. He said that he told her that he was in the Army Reserve and had returned to Honolulu earlier that year. On that same day, detectives interviewed Gideon's brother William. He stated that he had met Dawn at McKinley High School dance in 1976 through his brother Gideon. William denied ever dating Dawn, but he did say that he sometimes spoke with her on the phone. William said he last saw Dawn when she walked past his home 3 days before she died. He said that they talked for about 5 minutes, and William offered Dawn a ride to school, but she refused. William added that he went to the campus on March 21st, 1977 to see a friend and heard that a girl had died in one of the buildings.
Yeah, and I feel terrible for that. It is endlessly frustrating. It's terrible. That's why we got to keep getting the word out there and try to keep these, other great creators like Southern Gal, Jocelyn, I think, got a new channel now. All these people, all those creators, we get them out there, keep spreading the word, and put enough in the news, put enough pressure on law enforcement, they'll do something. Yep. Dawn Artica, great.
Despite following up on numerous leads and interviewing multiple individuals, investigators were unable to identify a suspect at that time. Let's fast forward 42 years to March 2019, when the Homicide Cold Case Detective submitted a request to the HPD Scientific Identifications Section's Forensic Biology Unit to process several items of evidence that was recovered from the murder scene, to include a blue shorts and an underwear that belonged to Dawn. In May of 2020, a DNA criminalist obtained the partial major DNA profile of an unidentified male from the sperm fraction of the samples obtained from Dawn's shorts. In September of 2023, information was received that William Castro or Gideon Castro could be potential suspects in this case. Further research and investigation revealed that William...
I'll be second. I'm currently working on 2 cases. One I will go on site in the spring. The other one is way more involved than I thought, and it is taking a lot of time to research everything. Yeah, it's not easy. Once you get into some of these cases, it takes forever. Like I've been working on the long haul trucker case for. I haven't been working on it a lot lately, like the last few weeks, but some of these cases are so involving that it takes I could literally work on it 24/7 and still not have enough time. So, but you just keep chipping away at it. Finally get, because I know some people are perfectionists, like, you know, Senegal and some of the other creators out there, but it's, you know, the best thing to do is to get the word out. You know, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get the word out so that people, you know, talk about it.
And resided in Chicago, Illinois. In November of 2023, Homicide Strategic Enforcement Detail detectives traveled to Chicago area to assist in surreptitiously obtaining DNA sample from William or William's biological.
I mean, these things are important, right? There's people out there that are suffering really bad. I mean, it can't be easy. I mean, look at Miss Barb. Miss Barb's an awesome person. She wants answers. You know, these family members, these victims' families, they want answers. They want to know what happened. Where's their daughter? Where's their son? Where's their family member? And it just sucks, you know. So, I mean, that's the reason why I'm here. It's definitely not for me. That's for sure. And I know that's why Southern Gal's here. That's why Steve True Crime's here. That's why Jocelyn's here. That's why all of these great channels in the chat here are here. It's trying to make a difference.
Child. Detectives were successful in surreptitiously obtaining a biological reference sample from one of William's grown children. HPD DNA criminalists obtained the DNA profile from the surreptitious sample and compared it to the DNA profile of the unidentified male. The lab findings excluded William as a suspect. Further investigation revealed that Gideon Castro resided in Utah and had a biological child who lived in another state. Bureau of Investigations and Homeland Security Investigations, Gideon's son was located and a surreptitious DNA sample was obtained from him. After initial testing by the FBI, the sample was given to the HPD for testing and comparison. Analysis and testing showed that Gideon's son was a biological child of the unidentified male who contributed the DNA profile obtained from the scene. Earlier this month, detectives from the Homicide Strategic Enforcement Detail traveled to Utah and obtained a surreptitious biological sample from Gideon. That sample was sent to the HPD DNA criminalists who compared that sample with the unidentified male. It was determined that the DNA profile obtained from the evidence matched the DNA profile of Gideon.
Okay, so this is Southern Gal's favorite part. Here come the wrench throwing again. So, Mark, if you want a wrench, just let me know. You don't have to do anything if you have a wrench. But if you know of channels, great channels, if you have a wrench, you can throw them in here, because I don't think you can if you don't. So if you want a wrench, just let me know. That's why there's so many people in here with wrenches. It's so funny. Oh, here comes the wrench throwing. Thankfully, around me, it's pretty quiet, but lots of drugs moving in. Duck.
Gideon Castro.
Goose.
With the assistance of the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney, a warrant for Gideon Castro's arrest for murder was issued. This morning at 7:40 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time,
It really
the
hurts a little.
Mill Creek Investigations Unit of the Unified Police Department of Greater Salt Lake located and arrested Gideon in a nursing home for murder in the second degree.
I don't even think I know how to do that.
In the weeks leading up to the arrest, our investigators worked with HPD Scientific Investigative Section's DNA lab and the Honolulu Prosecutor's Office to develop probable cause for his arrest. We also worked with our federal partners, the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Homeland Security Investigations, and want to thank them for their assistance, which was instrumental during the investigative process. We also wanted to thank the Unified Police Department of Greater Salt Lake for their assistance in locating and arresting Gideon Castro for murder. And special thanks to Sheriff Rosie Rivera, Lake County, and her team for making possible the arrangements to accommodate Gideon Castro as he awaits extradition to Honolulu. On behalf of the Honolulu Police Department, I want to thank all the individuals and agencies that made today's arrest possible. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to the tireless pursuit of justice for Dawn and the Momohara family. That's all I have for this. Any questions?
What was the exact cause of death again?
Let's see here, I don't want to get it wrong. The cause of death was asphyxia due to strangulation, and the manner of death was homicide.
What time this happened on school grounds?
We don't have an exact time frame, but it was after hours on a Sunday where she was to when she was found, so anywhere in between that time, Sunday through Monday. How old is he? Let me do math, hold on. He was born in 1958.
He's an old bastard. He's I want to switch to this one here really quick.
Humans can lie, but DNA doesn't. After nearly 50 years, police made an arrest in the 1977 killing of Dawn Momohara. She was found sexually assaulted and strangled inside a high school. Kimber Collins tells us how HPD cracked the case.
It was here at McKinley High School where 16-year-old Dawn Momohara was found murdered on March 21st, 1977. Honolulu police says thanks to new DNA evidence, they now believe they know who killed her.
A suspect was arrested for a murder that occurred in Honolulu nearly.
Hold on a second, because I don't think they're going to, I can't just, hold on a second. All right.
50 years ago.
The body of 16-year-old Dawn Momohara was found partially clothed with an orange cloth wrapped around her neck on the second floor of McKinley High School's English building. A witness told police he saw a man described as in his teens or early 20s on campus the same night Dawn died. With a composite sketch, police at the time interviewed Gideon Castro and his brother, but they denied the crime.
Gideon graduated from McKinley High School in 1976. He stated Dawn was friends with him and his brother William. He said that Dawn called him occasionally when he was still attending McKinley and that he last saw her at the McKinley Carnival in February of 1977, where they talked for about 15 minutes.
The case stayed cold.
So hold on a second here. I hate when they do this. I just can't stand it. Let's see here. So this is her here. I think that's probably one of the only images they have, maybe, because it's just sucks that they never show the face of the victim. It's just terrible, in my opinion. They should have, like, when they do these press conferences, they should have, a big picture of her so that everybody can see it, not just the people in the room, but us too here. All right, so but that's her there. Go back to, what am I doing here? Shut that off. I'm going to go back to here. I think it's disrespectful, in my opinion, that they don't have an image.
Until 2019.
Whoops, yep, okay.
New forensic DNA technology was able to obtain the genetic profile for male bodily fluids found on Dawn's clothing. Police then took samples from both Gideon and his brother's children in 2023 and found a match.
After initial testing by the FBI, the sample was given to the HPD for testing and comparison. Analysis and testing showed that Gideon's son was a biological child of the unidentified male.
Police credit the closure of this case to technological advancements in Hawaii.
Definitely it was the DNA, the increase in technology and DNA, what they're able to do with the samples from 1977 to what we can do with it today.
66-year-old Gideon Castro was arrested at a Utah nursing home Tuesday morning. He is being extradited back to Honolulu to face murder charges. Kimber Collins, Island News.
I mean, I know it's good that they arrested somebody, but what is he, 60, in his 60s now, so he's pretty much on the back nine, so, it would have been nice if they would have got him in his 40s or something, but whatever, they got him. All right, so I do want to play this here. This is in line with what I've been trying to talk about for the last year or so. But this is the guy that they got on this, anyways. So this is the truck stop serial unaliver. He's going to go on trial for the 2007 murder of this Indianapolis woman here, and I did a little bit on this guy a little while ago. But let me rewind this here, and we'll play this here. This was done 5 days ago, so right after I did my last live. Here we go.
Will go on trial in Indianapolis for a murder. Prosecutors say he committed this nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, his name is Bruce Mendenhall, known as the truck stop killer. He has been implicated in the murders of as many as 10 women, including one who disappeared from an Indianapolis truck stop back in 2007.
It was a warm July night in 2007 when 34-year-old...
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because you don't, I mean, do you really get an answer? I mean, I couldn't handle people seeing how to have to quit. Yeah. He lived his whole life for free. Exactly. Where was he? Who? During a video I was working on earlier, there was literally one pic of the victim at 17 and she was 52 when she passed. Yeah, it sucks. It's, I understand that they're minors when they go missing and it's probably not a good idea to be, but the victim should be the one featured. It's the victim. I don't like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just me being old.
Karma Purpura disappeared from this truck stop on the south side of Indianapolis. Several hours later, a Tennessee police officer pulled over.
I can't reiterate how easy. I mean, before I even started getting into the whole concept of long haul trucker type unalive, it's such an easy target place. I mean, nobody would ever think to look there. I mean, these truck stops, we got a ton of them up here. You get people going in and out all the time. Fortunately for the truck drivers anyways, but unfortunately for the people who go missing, it's often frequented by SWs who are looking to make a quick buck. So if these people go missing, it's almost like the perfect crime because nobody would ever suspect it. And by the time these guys go into especially long haul truckers, because they go from state to state to state to state, and it's just so it's perfect. It's a perfect kind of setup. The good news is I think they're kind of onto it these days. They're looking definitely more into this, but we'll be going over that shortly here whenever I can get my shit together here.
Over a big rig driven by Bruce Mendenhall because of its distinctive yellow color. The officer was investigating the murder of another woman whose body was found near a Nashville truck stop 2 weeks earlier.
Almost immediately, I saw a truck coming toward me that looked very much like the truck that we'd been.
One of the best places we've ever ate, me and my wife, is a truck stop. It's up in Lebanon, New Hampshire, called the Fort. It's a diner, but it's not like a diner. It's it is technically a truck stop, but the food there is just so good. In fact, if it wasn't for that place, our daughter Lily probably would have never been born because it's just we used to go there all the time. But it's a perfect, it's just almost like the perfect cover up. In my opinion, it's one of those things that you'd never expect. And how do you investigate that?
Discussing for the last 2 days.
When the officer opened up the cab of the truck, you can imagine his surprise because the cab of the truck was literally awash with blood.
Police say DNA tests matched some of that blood to Purpura, and they also found her debit card and cell phone inside the truck's cab, but her body was nowhere to be found.
Especially if it's a privately owned truck, right? I know It's Farmer. Farmer's here. Hey, buddy. Farmer's awesome. Anybody doesn't know who Farmer is an amazing person. It's just great person, just great, absolutely amazing person. I've been trying to promote your channel as much as possible, but Farmer has some great stuff. Just a great individual person. What was I saying? No, we used to stay at a hotel around there a lot. We were first dating, so yeah. Was in the bathroom. But the food is just amazing up there. It's just, but anyways, Farmer's here, so that's good news. Farmer is awesome. Thank you for coming in, buddy. I'll try to find your channel. Oh, see, Southern Gal already did it. Thank you, Southern Gal. Farmer's awesome. Farmer's the real deal. Always good to see him. All right, let's go.
When Mendenhall was arrested in 2007, he implicated himself in at least 6 homicides, including 2 at Tennessee truck stops, 2 in Indiana, and 1 in Alabama and Georgia, targeting women who often worked as prostitutes.
There is no such.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Yeah, Farmer's great. I remember him on some of the other channels I used to watch. Him and Cryptex do a great job. Another great channel. Why didn't I try? No, Farmer's awesome. No doubt.
Such thing as a normal homicide, but in the way no one deserves to be left the way these women were left, including our victim. No one deserves to die that way, and no one definitely deserves to be left the way they were left.
It's that Mr. Steve guy. Was he self-snitching? Yeah, probably. All right, buddy. It's good to see you, man. Farmer's great. Hope you're doing well.
Purpura's body was eventually found along a Kentucky interstate in 2011, but wasn't identified as her until 2016. Mendenhall has been convicted twice of first-degree murder for his 2 Tennessee victims and was sentenced to life in prison both times. Tomorrow, he'll face a judge and jury yet again, the beginning of justice nearly 20 years in the making.
And after his trial here, he is set to go on trial down in Birmingham, Alabama for murdering a woman there and dumping her body.
See, that's what I mean. Like you go state to state. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gal. She's always on it. Who we're discussing tonight? We're discussing everybody technically. We're discussing, you name it, we got it. This is I think his name is Mendenhall, but he one of these long haul trucker guys here. But this is the perfect guy, perfect crime. I mean, you can go to any state and nobody's going to ever suspect you because you're in and out, always stopping, quickly leaving. You sleep in your truck. It's perfect. Dave's love life was on the agenda. Cryptex is great. Cryptex and Farmer, it's good show, good stuff.
In a trash bin. His trial begins tomorrow morning at 8:30, and the judge has allowed cameras in the courtroom. Of course, Fox 59 will be there.
He is here. This is this guy here.
13 News at 4 begins with breaking news. The verdict is in the Marion County.
This was done. This was done 3 days ago. So here's this.
Just found a suspected serial killer guilty of killing an Indianapolis mother nearly 18 years ago.
Rich Nye was in the courtroom for this trial and the verdict this afternoon. He joins us live from the Community Justice Campus. Rich?
It took almost 2 decades to bring this case to trial, but the jury only needed about 90 minutes over pizza for lunch to reach a verdict. Bruce Mendenhall is already serving 2 life sentences for killing 2 women in Tennessee, and now he faces an additional 45 to 65 years in Indiana for the July 11th, 2000.
So true. So it's one of those careers where one could be a hero, a villain, or a truck driver. Perfect. Yep. It's just, when you think about it, right? If you think about it, I don't know, most people in their life probably been to a diner where there's a truck stop nearby, but there's so many truck stops, so many truckers, they go in and out, they're in one state, then they're in another state, they have a timeline, they have to be certain times. So it's perfect. I mean, they're frequently frequented by SWs who are, like I said, they're trying to make a quick buck. 9 times out of 10, they got to get in the cab. I mean, it's a perfect place. It's a perfect, as far as I'm concerned, it's like the perfect thing. Yeah, it's probably something that's been slowed, but then a lot of seasoned truck drivers, guys that have been on the road for years and years and years, may have a private truck. So they don't really, if they own their truck, they don't really have to be on a schedule somewhat. They can kind of take their time. Bad zero communication, vulnerable folks. Yeah, absolutely. I know there's one guy that worked for the FBI. He actually kind of became involved in the long haul trucker thing, drove a truck and kind of investigated it for over, I think, a couple of years. And there's 800 cases. He found 800 cases that are probably linked to long haul truckers. And I'm going to try to do a special on that at some point. But it's just been so busy in the news lately with all these other cases going on that it's really hard to. It's a lot.
2007 murder of 31-year-old Karma Papura. She was an Indianapolis mother, last seen at the Flying J truck stop at the Harding Street exit of I-465 on the south side of Indianapolis. Mendenhall was arrested in Nashville, Tennessee the next day.
It would be freaking awesome to have Southern Gal up here at some point. Farmer, Arctic, maybe even Cryptex or a few people. That'd be freaking awesome. That'd be a freaking awesome show. Farmer's amazing. He's very intelligent. Yep, absolutely.
After police there investigating another murder, found Papura's bloody clothes, phone, and her ATM card in a plastic bag in the cab of Mendenhall's truck at a truck stop there. The prosecution told the jury that Mendenhall knew details only the killer would know.
Evidence that justice in hands, that he be held accountable for, let's not parse words, the cold-blooded murder of her so many nights ago on that warm July night outside the Flying J on 465 in Indianapolis. The state's going to ask you to find him guilty of murder, because that's exactly what he is. Bruce Mendenhall is a killer.
I mean, I think that would be a great show. I'd just go on there and shut up. But no, that'd be awesome. I'll let my people talk to your people. To tell you, have people. All right, let me get back to this here.
And the jury did.
This guy here just looks the part. I don't know. Looks are kind of deceiving, but this guy has that look, I think.
Did find Mendenhall guilty. Papura's body was found 4 years after she was killed along a highway in Kentucky. Many of her family members attended the trial but did not wish to speak after the verdict. Mendenhall will be back in this courtroom for sentencing here in Indiana on February 13th. Authorities believe he may be responsible for in other states.
Oh, yeah, this guy here, in my opinion, he's probably responsible for at least 20 because it's just so convenient. Thanks, buddy. I've been trying to kick people your way all the time. I read a lot of your posts. I try to share as much as I can. You're an awesome guy. Steve adores you. Steve likes you too. We all like Farmer here. Farmer's great. Farmer's a great person.
All right, Rich and I reporting live this afternoon. Thank you, Rich.
All right, so that's that. Get into something else. I want to go into the missing here. Hold on a second. Let me get rid of this here. I do want to get into the missing. Hold on a second. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a pretty crazy week. Like I said, it's what was I going to do? I was going to do hold on, give me a second. Go. I think it's this one here. Yes, it's this one here. Is it this one here? Yes. All right. So this is going to be part of the missing tonight. This is what happened to Nicole Gray. Mother vanishes while Christmas shopping 25 years ago. I'll try to pull up her MO here. And yes. All right, so let's go through this here. I'll pull up the MO on her, and we'll do this here. So let me share this. Try to feature at least one missing person case a week. Last week I didn't do it because we did a couple, but I think other people have done something on this lady here. So let's go here. So this 25 years later, this was done a day ago. Missing Missouri mom Nicole Gray went missing out to buy Christmas presents in 1999 and vanished. She now 25 years later, police are re-examining the cold case and saying they believe foul play may have been a factor. No shit. All right, so here we go.
A case by all accounts stalled, but not for Kendra, who refuses to let her mom's disappearance and her case go cold. Coming up, the evidence in Nicole's car and Kendra's continued plea for answers. And that's where you come in. Before we get to that, we have several other missing cases we want to share with you. First, the family of a 6-year-old boy from California begging for the public's help to bring this guy home. Police say Bain Tyson Ortiz has
This one right here is just really sad. This is awful.
not been seen since early November. They believe he is with his mother, Genevieve Esquivel. A local newspaper in Simi Valley, California, says a judge had ordered Genevieve to surrender Bain to his dad, who had been given full custody. She now has a warrant out for her arrest for child abduction and a violation of that court order. Bain is Hispanic. He's about 3 feet tall. He weighs 45 pounds. Police say he could be in a white Ford Explorer or a gray Chevrolet Tahoe. If you have any information on where he may be, contact the Simi Valley Police Department. His dad is waiting for him to come home, even still has the Christmas tree up and his unwrapped presents under the tree, hoping that he's back with him soon. A new warrant suggests a little girl missing since November of 2022 may have been sexually.
Okay, so this is the Madeline Country Cops. This was in, I think this was in South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere around there. Yes, it's terrible. It's terrible. That's what I mean. This is like you can focus on one case and then another one comes up and another one comes up and you just feel heartbroken not to do something. So you do something and then you just blow everything else off. All right, so here, let me, I just want to play this here or show this here about Nicole Gray before we get too off topic here. This is coming from the Charlie Project again. All right, so she went missing since December 17th, 1999, St. Anne, Missouri. Classification missing, but I'm pretty sure pretty soon they're going to put foul play next to this here. Female, back 04/21/1995, so she'd be 55. 30 years old when she went missing, I think. What was I just going to do? Oh, the math here. I don't know. 5'9", 142 pounds. That's a couple of pictures of her there. She was wearing a gray sweatsuit with Adidas sneakers, earrings, rings, and a gold chain necklace. She was habitually Habitually wore numerous necklaces and earrings at the time of her 1999 disappearance. There's a Ford Explorer unaccounted for. Gray has a tattoo of a cigar-smoking bulldog on her left arm. That's pretty cool. Another unspecified tattoo on her upper left arm. And a tattoo of a broken or bleeding heart on her left ankle. Her ears are pierced, and her nickname is Nikki. No. Right. Gray was last seen leaving her residence in St. Anne, Missouri. She was going to run errands before she was going to attend a Christmas party at her children's school. She never made it to the party, returned home, and has not. Okay, so she never made it to the party. That night, her Ford Explorer was found abandoned at the new defunct Northwest Plaza. Few details are available in her case. Fantastic. And I'll copy this here and I'll put it in my ticker. Hold on a second here. Okay, let's do that. All right, so let's go back to this. They found her vehicle. Yeah, that's the problem with psychos out of left field. Then we're supposed to recognize there. Exactly. All right, so let's go here. There's always no information. It's just so weird. All right, let's do this here.
Sexually exploited, according to court documents obtained by our local affiliate in North Carolina.
We did Madalena Kojikari's case actually it's probably been a few months ago now.
Items from Madalena Kojikari's home, including a mattress, her clothes, and carpet, were.
Yep, isn't her mother like Russian or something?
Burned outside of the house. The report indicates the belief at the time from investigators sexual exploitation of a minor child. The last known images of Madalena we've shared a number of times in our missing series is of her getting off of her school bus, kind of walking past the driver and getting off the bus. Her mom and her stepfather did not initially report Madalena missing. It was only when the school inquired about her whereabouts that authorities were then alerted. Diana Kojikari, Madalena's biological mother, pleaded guilty to a felony charge of failure to report her disappearance. She has since left the country. Madalena's stepfather was also convicted on related charges and was sentenced to 30 months supervised probation. There has still been no sign of Madalena, so we stay on that case today. Now to our featured missing case this week. A mother of 4 from Missouri simply vanishes. Her daughter, just 8 years old at the time, desperate to know where she is, what happened. It is the story of Nicole Gray, a case that has stalled in the years since her disappearance in 1999, one that her daughter is desperately trying to keep from going cold.
It's hard just being a mother, not knowing if you're doing it right because you didn't have a mother. My kids didn't get to meet their grandmother. I don't get to grow old with my mom.
Kendra Young hopes these photos will jog a memory. She says her mom, Nicole Gray, was someone you remember.
She wore a lot of jewelry. She was light complected. She always had her hair done, kind of loud. She dressed to impress, but to know her was to love her. It's one of the things when she was in the room, you knew.
Gray vanished from St. Anne, Missouri, a suburb of St. Louis, in 1999. On December 17th, the 30-year-old mother of 4 said she was going to run errands before attending a Christmas party at her kid's school. She never made it there. Nicole's red Ford Explorer was discovered at the old Northwest Plaza, ticketed for overnight parking. But there was no sign of Nicole. Kendra had just turned 8 when her mom disappeared.
I don't really think I kind of took it in at that age. Like, I knew she wasn't there, but like the absence really hit me in adult life. Like, you just kind of like, dang, like I just miss my mama. And it's just like a lot of milestones, a lot of firsts, and it's been hard.
Now, 25 years later, police say they're re-examining the case and believe she may have been the victim of foul play.
it's been too long. Before I leave this earth, I want to know what happened to my mother. She was a mother of 4. She had nieces, nephews, siblings.
Kendra has created a Facebook page, posting updates, sharing photos, making videos online, doing anything she can to get the word out.
Nicole deserves justice, and her kids deserve closure.
And while she holds out some hope her mom still might be alive, anyone with information to come forward so her family can have some peace, no matter where those answers.
So let's do this here. You go to the map, hit here. Hold on a second. In the little tiny town, St. Anne, Missouri, is right there. Let me back out a little bit. So it's basically a little bit northwest of St. Louis here, so it must be a suburb here. Let's take a little drive here. St. Anne, Missouri here. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful town. I mean, this is the middle of town now, so I don't know the actual address. Maybe I can find that out, but yeah, there would be plenty of cameras in this area here. All right, so let's go back to this here. Whoop. See if I can get an exact address to where.
A proper burial. Maybe I could just go visit a grave site or plant a tree in her name.
What happened to Nicole Gray? We reached out to the St. Anne Police Department. We did not get a response to our inquiry into the case and the investigation. And they have never said if they found any of Nicole's belongings, including her purse or her ID.
So police now believe foul play may have been involved, but what were they doing for 25 years?
Or if they were able to retrace any of her steps that day, all those years ago when her car was found. Anyone with information in this case, contact the St. Anne, Missouri Police Department to offer that information. Joining us now, Kendra Young, Nicole Gray's daughter.
You know who's really good with the maps is Mexi. Mexi is awesome. Is the map reflective of the locale? Probably not. No. Yes, Library of Congress has an online map section to drool over. Yes, let me see. This was October 2022. So this, I'm assuming that this hasn't changed much since 1999, but you never know. Some of the stores, and once I get an actual address, I'll be able to tell you. I mean, that's a Waffle House right there. That's a Waffle House. Holy crap. Cool. It's like the shoe shine guy in the Police Squad shows. Like, if you want any information, just go to the shoe shine guy.
Kendra, thank you for being with us. I know that this has been a loss for you and no closure, understanding where your mom is. You were 8 years old at the time. What do you remember when your mom disappeared?
I remember.
Yeah, the thing is that some of the faces and places change. I know around here, it'd be strange to find something that changed that much. I do know that technology changes. So, 1999, 2000, I don't know how many phone pings they're going to get. I don't know if there was a whole shitload of closed circuit TVs available, probably still all video. Payphones were probably still around, so who knows?
I remember going to school and then coming home and receiving a lot of questions about if she came to the school or not. The answer was no. But like I said in my other interview, I didn't really process the fact that she was missing. I didn't. It wasn't like I had to adjust accordingly, but that's pretty much what I remember.
At the time, were there searches? Were there big searches of people in the community? Did they send dogs out? What have you been told about what went on in those first few days?
When I was a child, I remember the police searching our house. It kind of ransacked everything, I guess, to make sure there was no evidence or anything. They were searching the yard. I do believe the house was searched by dogs, but I don't want to say too much if it's not true. But yeah, it was searched.
Are you still in that community in St. Anne, and who raised you?
No, I am about 25 minutes away from there, and I grew up with my father.
Okay. And at any point in this investigation, what did police tell you all about your mom's disappearance? Any evidence? What was found in her car?
To my knowledge, they found her cell phone. Then I think around that time they had Nextel chirps, those big old cell phones. I want to say they found a purse, but don't quote me on that. But that's pretty much what I do know.
What had your dad shared about that time and anything that may have been going on, if anything, with your mom?
To be honest, my dad has been kind of vague, not really saying much about my mom's disappearance. So I just kind of leave that alone and leave that up to the police to kind of figure out and navigate.
Was he questioned?
Yes, ma'am. To my knowledge, he was.
At any point, Kendra, have there been suspicion of foul play in your mom's case? Any reason to believe that she was the victim of something nefarious?
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, yes.
And
so when I first got into years and years and years ago, when I first got into, hurricane hunting, technically, we used to use maps years ago because there was no such thing as, digital computers or any type of satellite. And if there was, we didn't have them. So we used to have maps like all over the place. Maps in my room. I used to use ham radios all the time, trying to give, get the latest on the of the storm. So it's maps. Yeah, maps for sure. Nowadays, you just click a button and it's all done for you. In Kalamazoo, where I'm in, I could break down the development by decade. Yeah. Which can improve. I find the old maps may not provide answers for the crime, but from time to time can provide context for the period. Right. And I do that a lot too, because just like I just said, go back 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, especially when computers were really starting to get going and cell phones were starting to get going. There's a transition period there where you still have some of the old technology lapping over into the new technology. So there's still payphones. There's still landlines. There's still all of those different types of technologies sometimes coexist together. And George Farmer, the last key check, October 2000. Have you seen Elvis? Elvis Costello?
What has led police to believe that, or you yourself?
I think I've done something on this case before. I'm not sure. I might have.
I think just having access to more technology and being able to look more into things and kind of looking over statements more, points fingers at people, I guess that's kind of what I gathered from it.
Got it. Has there been a person of interest or any potential suspect?
They shot on a few people, I guess I could say, but you have to have the evidence. So it shoulda, coulda, woulda, but if you don't have the evidence, it doesn't stick,
Is it still an open investigation? I mean, a lot of times after years and years go by, less and less happens on a case. What's your assessment of the status of your mom and the search for her?
I have been in contact with St. Anne, and they have been really pleasant to my family and I, but they can't really move forward if they don't have any more information. But every time I have been in contact with them, they have been pleasant and they are making an effort, but we just need people to come forward and say what they remember so we can get closure and justice for my mom.
Those potential suspects, are they, without giving any names, are they people that your mom would have known?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it was someone very close to her. Yes.
Okay. What do you remember, Kendra, about your mom?
My mother was no joke. She was she did not play when it came to discipline, but she kept us together and we were very structured. I feel like she was in survival mode when she was raising us, so we didn't really get to enjoy her as a fun person. She was just kind of trying to get things together and get her life together. And I feel like as I grow older, we would have had a great relationship, but I don't get to experience that now, so I can't really say.
How big of a void has this left in your life, the unknown?
A huge void, because like I was just rewatching the video as we started this.
So the strange thing, and usually when there's a vehicle found abandoned, Charlotte's here. Charlotte's awesome. Good to see Charlotte in the house. Thank you, Charlotte, for coming in. Charlotte is an amazing person. She lives over there in England. Are you still in Belgium? But she's just an amazing person. Charlotte's, I always try to stay after Charlotte to come in. Just great people. Absolutely great people. He owned a building housing a private office called Columbus Plaza, and he would wait for his Gibson guitars. Yep. Elvis was a very good guitar player. People don't know that about him. He, I mean, a lot of people don't know that about him. He was a really, really good guitar player. A lot better than people thought he was.
This and I got kind of emotional because you guys put it together really well. And by me having kids, I wish they could get to know her. Like I would probably have to fight my mom just to get my kids back because that's how much she loved me, and I know she would love anything, any addition to me.
So was David Bowie. David Bowie was a really good guitar player.
Have there been any, crumbs of evidence over the years that have led you to some hope or that have furthered the investigation? Anything promising to go on?
Yes, ma'am. I think so. It's just a matter of putting it together and it being legit so it can stick versus he say.
I had a chance to see David Bowie. I forget the year, but it was between, I want to say between 1989 and like 1992. So it had to be, if I had to guess, it was probably 1991. And I kicked myself in the ass for not seeing. Bowie to me is exceptional. I mean, what's not to like? Bowie is just great.
She say,
Okay, so.
But he's dead, so you can't go see him now. Well, you can, but not going to be too talkative.
In that vein, what are you doing to try to get the word out? We mentioned social media is one avenue.
As of now, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Previously, in the previous years, I was scared to speak up, but now I'm making my post public in regards to my mom. I am leaving straight from work, getting on the interviews. At first, I was talking myself out of not doing an interview because I wasn't presenting myself accordingly. But I said, no, she would do it for me. So I'm just speaking up and stepping out of my comfort zone and being more vocal. She does have 4 kids, and I'm the only one kind of putting in that footwork. But it is what it is. But I'm just trying to be a good representation for not only myself, but her and my family and everybody she loved.
Yeah, no, you become her voice, absolutely. And
Yes,
and it's much appreciated that you're talking to us. If you had a message to anyone out there who knows something, and likely someone does, about what happened to your mom, what would you want to tell them?
I would just say my mother was loved, and I would just appreciate if anybody could just come forward and say something. It's been 25 years, just a long, hard, cold time. Just please come forward so she can get that justice, peace, and closure that we need to just move forward,
So her car was found in that night. Her Ford Explorer was found abandoned at the newly defunct Northwest Plaza. I wonder if I can still find that. So if it was found at a plaza, I'm willing to bet there was some sort of camera somewhere. So I wonder if it's possible that they might have seen the car entering the parking lot. I don't know, but I'll have to find this newly defunct Northwest Plaza here. So let's hold on a second.
Do you have any memories of your mom, mementos that you hold on, images of you all together when you were little?
As of now, since I don't have the physical aspect of her, I have got a lot of pictures. I got an old makeup bag. I would have to get to thinking, but just pictures mostly.
All right. How are you holding up through all of this and the process? And are you hopeful you'll get some answers soon?
I have my days. Like it's certain stuff like smells and
So guess what? Here it is. This is the now defunct Northwest Plaza here. So I mean, this was done in 2018, so 18 years before this. I don't know if there's any cells in here, any type of cameras in these. Probably not 1999. But I'd like to know what was in this plaza, because if it's, the chain store, depending on what it was, might have a camera. I know there's cameras there right now. There's one there. But if the anchor store, depending on what it was, it's possible. All right, but this is the plaza here. I found it. This is St. Anne, Missouri, Northwest Plaza, and you can tell that it's not being used at this point. All right, so let's get back to this here. Sorry. How you doing, Charlotte? You doing all right? Let's go here.
just certain stuff that can trigger me. Like I was okay until we started the interview, but it's just triggers. But I'm holding up. I got to be strong so we can get the answers we need. Because if I kind of stay in my shell, we won't get anything.
Yeah. Well, stay in touch with us, Kendra. We'll do our best.
Yeah, that's freaking great news. We love Heather. It's so awesome that that's not that. I told you, no news was good news. That's usually how it works, unless you're me, because no news usually means the worst.
To get the word out about your mom and the case, and even though it's been a lot of years, I still think that there are answers that we can help you uncover. So we appreciate your time, and our best to your entire family and your kids. I hope you have what you want soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right, my best to you. All right, I want to bring in Rebecca Howard now. She's the chair and the board of directors of the Black Missing Foundation, as well as News Nation Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Koffendorfer. To you both, thank you for being here.
Farmer's amazing. I used to see Farmer on all the time. Farmer used to be on with Adam and Miss Deb all the time. And then Steve mentioned him, and I didn't know. This was a long time ago. I didn't know he had his own channel. So ever since, I've been kind of trying to help out as much as I possibly can over there. But him and Cryptex are awesome. All right, I'm gonna shut up now. Let's do this here.
Rebecca, I want to start with you because this is a young Black mother, 4 kids when she went missing, and her daughter has struggled over the years to, 1, decide to get out and talk about the case, but 2, to pressure investigators.
Nothing aggravates me more than when you go to look up a case and there's absolutely there's nothing. You can't find. I mean, I just found a little bit here on the Charlie Project, but that's it. There's nothing else. You can't. I mean, I would have to literally go, and I probably don't think they have anything on the Missouri, state side either. So I'm going to have to investigate this more. But it just nothing burns me up more than that. There's absolutely no information at all.
To continue to find answers. I know this is something that you all run into with the families that you deal with. What stands out to you about this case and Nicole's disappearance?
First, I really just want to applaud Kendra for the work that she is doing for her mom. I was 20 years ago that my niece went missing in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I really had to step to the forefront and even out of my comfort zone a little bit. I was a publicist by trade, and I wasn't but I was used to getting attention from my clients, and I really had to step out of my comfort zone and get in front of the cameras and raise the alarms for Tamika in order to get a resolution in her case. And unfortunately, Tamika, we found that she was deceased. It was a long 15-month journey for us, but I can't even imagine what she's going through 25 years later. But she is absolutely doing the right thing and sounding the alarm and putting herself out there and kind of demanding the attention that you need in order to get a resolution in your case. Because if you kind of, at least it was my experience and the experience that we have at the Black and Missing Foundation.
Years ago, I used to be Danger Dave. So that's probably why you don't know. But yeah, it was definitely probably Kristen, I would think.
You know, the more attention that we can bring to these cases, we can get resolutions for these families.
Yeah, and it's really becomes shouting from the rooftop, right? Getting groups like ours to cover it, groups like yours to invest as well. Rebecca, what are the biggest challenges that family members face in these cases, and how do they navigate that relationship with police?
I think that one of the challenges that you have is being met with just disbelief. It's kind of dismissive responses from law enforcement initially, particularly with communities of color. We find that oftentimes.
Yeah, I think Mel used to call me Digger Dave. So funny. You can call me that though, because she's awesome. Mel is awesome. Cold Truth. Cold Truth. Is it Cold Truth? Yeah, Cold Truth is. She can call me Digger Dave all she wants. She's an amazing person too. Cold Truth is just. I haven't seen her for a while. I hope she's well. But Cold Truth is great.
Law enforcement, there's a natural inclination to believe when a Black woman goes missing, for example, that, well, perhaps that there was some criminal activity involved, or it's just kind of a dismissive nature that you have to overcome.
Moles, remember the moles? I keep saying moles all the time. Oh.
That is really unfortunate, but that is the type of work that we do to kind of educate not only law enforcement, but help families navigate these complex systems in dealing with law enforcement. And in the case of, for me, I found.
Why the disparity in media coverage? Runaways. Many minority children are initially classified as runaways and they do not receive. Here we go with that Amber Alert thing, right? Criminals, missing minority adults labeled as associated with criminal involvement. Unbelievable. Desensitization, believe that missing minorities live in impoverished conditions. Crime is a regular part of their lives. All of this fucking shit right here needs to change. And this Amber Alert thing, it's I agree with Arctic on this. This Amber Alert thing is, it's enough to make you want to pull your hair out.
Found that developing a very positive relationship with law enforcement was critical to having a resolution in my niece's case. And I'm happy to hear, like Kendra say, that the St. Anne is.
Thanks, buddy. I've always respected you. You're a good person. Of course, not everybody can agree with everybody on the same thing all the time, but I have no problem with that. I love opinions. Opinions are what makes life go around. You're a great person. Farmer's a great person. Always try to catch you, and especially in Cryptex, but I've been trying to push people your way too. You have great stuff. That's why. Anyways, let me get back to this. But all of these three things here: runaway, criminals, desensitization. This stuff needs to change. They should redo this whole Amber Alert. Period.
Being responsive to her, but it's kind of, you had to keep lighting a fire under them because unfortunately new crimes are committed every day. They may have homicides that they're dealing with. It's, they don't necessarily have big, it's not like television where you have big.
So 40% missing reported are persons of color. So that's a high number right there. I don't know where they're getting it. So this is the government census. Is this 2022, probably 2020? 13% African American population in the United States. Now, back in my day, my brother ran away twice. So running away was a pretty popular thing back in the mid 70s, I would think. My brother ran away twice to the same place, so it's not like we didn't know where to find him. And my brother was a little weird. He was a Cowboys fan, so how weird can you be, right? But anyways, I'm saying kids used to run away all the time back then. It wasn't strange for kids to run away.
Departments dedicated to a whole missing persons unit. So they're dealing with a challenge in themselves. So the more information you can provide them, the more media attention that you can bring. It matters when News Nation is calling the police department and you want to you're asking for comment. That kind of lights a fire under them as well. So all of these components are really critical to finding resolutions in these cases.
And Rebecca, it's part of the reason that you all exist and do the work you do. What does the data show? We've got some numbers on the screen now indicating how little some cases get compared to others when it comes to minorities.
Yeah, since 2008, the Black and Missing Foundation has really been raising the alarm that persons of color are disappearing at a disproportionate rate, and 40% is just astounding when you look at that. So we really are trying to close the gap here and find resolution.
And how do you impart hope for somebody as Kendra does to try to hold on as so much time has passed? Where do you tell them to lean on for support?
I used to try to run away too. My father used to tell me, just get out. Oh, good, get out. Yes.
Well, organizations like ours, we're there to help. It's really, to me, it's a three-pronged approach that helps with these cases, and there has to be community involvement. So getting the community involved. Kendra says that she's doing that. She's opening up her social media channels and getting information out there. There are people out there who know what happened. So community involvement is very critical. Interacting with law enforcement and making sure that you keep the lines of communication open with law enforcement.
So I wonder what changed their mind. Police now believe foul play may have been involved. So I wonder what. I know that some cases I've heard of, especially with the advent of Facebook and Twitter and all the social media stuff, what they'll try to do is they'll try to put out some sort of a mock Facebook page or a mock Twitter account of the individual. And they'll try to get some tips this way here. And after a certain time, with certain circulation around Facebook or some of these other sites, if they don't get any hits or anything after a certain amount of time, that's when they'll say, okay, a certain amount of time has passed. And we know from statistics and data that, all of these algorithms have a certain way of, proving themselves. And after a certain amount of time, they'll say, okay, it's probably not a missing person case and probably foul play. I've heard them kind of do that because a lot of these sites like Facebook, they have algorithm stuff that you can check. They have a certain amount of, data when it comes to the likelihood of somebody not seeing this these days when it comes to the missing person and the media site, social media site. So I've heard of them doing that before.
Is very critical as well. And then on top of that, reviews about the pronged component in order to kind of, make things happen for you.
Yeah, well, and doing the interviews too, you get to hear their personal connection, more about the person that's missing, who they are, what they meant to that family. Jennifer, to you investigatively, this case is all.
Charlotte, you're always welcome here. Charlotte's an amazing person. I love, one thing I'll never tell people is, I don't like their opinion. Opinions are what matters. I think, opinions are what makes the world go around, and people start realizing that, I think it'd be a better place to live. Just because somebody has a different opinion than me, it doesn't mean that I'm going to just not like them for that opinion. It's just an opinion. And when you start talking about some of these cases that go on forever and ever and ever, sometimes the best thing to do is to just have a different opinion because they haven't been solved. So what's another opinion? I mean, so I sometimes encourage the opinion thing. It's when people start attacking people and start attacking other people and it's just, there's no place for that in my book. But the opinion, I have no problem with opinions.
All the way back to 1999.
I do have a problem with onions, but not opinions.
How do you start to look at this from a law enforcement standpoint and kind of refresh the public's memory all these years later?
We always originally start with what was happening at that time. In other words, you go through that case file point by point and look at all the evidence that was collected back then. Maybe something that didn't seem like it was important now with this fresh eye is important. The other thing is you re-interview all the individuals that were interviewed and try to find more leads concerning what people might have said in the interim, what their suspects might have said to other people that could lead to more information. You know, we know of something that was kind of unique in this case, and that was she did not show up at a function for her children. And when her children came home, their father was there.
Information. Where's she getting this information from? Where did she get that information from? Highway Patrol, maybe? Hold on a second. Anyways, I'll have to look at that at some point. Getting that information.
Unusual. So it makes me wonder if that might be something they're looking into to try to understand why the father was home when he normally didn't do that. So you're looking at patterns that happen around a missing person that are unusual.
So interviewing those people once again, maybe new information comes to forensically.
Did she say her father or? So she vanished on a trip to Christmas gifts, right?
Start to look at this from a law enforcement standpoint and kind of refresh the public's memory all these years later?
Well, you always originally start with what was happening at that time. In other words, you go through that case file point by point and look at all the evidence that was collected back then. Maybe something that didn't seem like it was important now with this fresh eye is important. The other thing is you re-interview all the individuals that were interviewed and try to find more leads concerning what people might have said in the interim, what their suspects might have said to other people that could lead to more information. You know, we know of something that was kind of unique in this case, and that was she did not show up at a function for her children. And when her children came home, their father was there, which was reported.
So their children came home and their father was there. So that would have been either her boyfriend or husband or something like that. So, because the children that she had, their father was there.
Reportedly unusual. So it makes me wonder if that might be something they're looking into to try to understand why the father was home when he normally didn't do that. So you're looking at patterns that happen around a missing person that are unusual.
So interviewing those people once again, maybe new information comes to light. Forensically, how challenging is a case like this decades later?
Well, it's challenging, but if they did their job back then in terms of getting fingerprint evidence, that could possibly be helpful. In addition, what kind of photographs did they take of that car? You want to see if it looks like there was a struggle. That
Did you Google it, Mino Dino? Google it.
that occurred in that vehicle, or if that vehicle was staged there, was driven there, and what happened to her occurred someplace else. So all of these details are really critical. Hopefully they.
You know, it could be it could be that the Ford Explorer might have been put there, I don't know, maybe as a ruse or something.
They have photos.
The mentality of someone who may know something over time, does that
I mean, if it's always the husband, it's always either the husband or the boyfriend. So that's where I would have started first.
that safe become even more secure?
I mean, I don't want to say always. It's not always, but it's pretty close. It's he would have been the first person I would have started with for sure.
Or does it start to eat away at them?
3 children, child support, all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a motive for sure right there. Not saying he did it. I'm just saying that's where I would have started.
And that they know something, they were involved, and they want to tell someone about it.
Well, I think it varies. I think many times it does make it easier sort of not to say anything when you think you've gotten away with it. But also time with proper interviewing, possibly if you can expose their guilty conscience and make them really realize how important this is to the family. Sometimes that you can use that emotional tactic.
So yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to get, well, it's on the Gal's channel or something. Maybe we can get something together with Farmer and Southern Gal, of course. Whoever wants to go. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be the best thing ever, really.
I know it's difficult and it is a bit speculative, but as you look at the evidence, is it more likely that whoever did something, if anything, to this young mom, it was someone she knew, or do you think it seems more random?
I think it's likely someone she knew. You always start with the.
Yeah, I'd put it at 70% right off the bat. If you always go by statistics right at that point. You always start right in any investigation. You try to look. You start off in the vicinity of the close, whoever's close, right, and then work out from there. But in cases like this, I'm already at 70%. If there's somebody close like that, a husband, a spouse, boyfriend, especially with 3 kids.
Inner circle and work out, Marnie. In this case, especially hearing her daughter actually mention that she thought it was somebody very close to the mother. Those are all clues and insights that they will have given to law enforcement. And typically that is the situation, Marnie.
Jennifer Coffindale, for Rebecca Howard, to you both, thank you for joining us on this case. I'm glad to bring it to folks.
Yeah, it's probably could be just an argument gone wrong or something like that, or it's always, I mean, like I said, I don't want to say always because it's not always, but it's a good, at least in my opinion, probably like 70%, 60 to 70%. It's not always the case, but I mean, she might have been seeing somebody on the side. Who knows? I don't. But she went out to buy Christmas gifts, so she was planning on returning home. So something happened, obviously, between that and when she returned home. So she obviously probably went to that plaza to buy gifts. Maybe, I don't know. It's just I'll have to look into it. I have to get more information on this, but so that's that case there. Another strange one. I think I did something on that case before, though, and that's why I'm asking. I knew here in Kalamazoo, Brian Seagram, who he focused on SWs and drug. Yes. So let's do this here. This might be a little bit graphic, so I want to, well, a little not graphic, but a little bit disturbing here. But this is, I came across this. I think this was, I wanted to do this last week, I think, but I ran out of time. So this is the survivor of a California prison. RAPE Club, and she shares her story here with ABC News here. But this is, like I said, this is a little bit disturbing, but this is important here. So if you're sensitive to this kind of stuff here, just, I don't know. But I think it's important to hear sometimes what goes on here.
Nowhere safe, not the library, not your shower, not even your room, your counselor.
A sexual assault survivor of an infamous women's prison in Northern California is sharing her story for the first time.
It's Miranda Lee. Miranda Lee's in here. Hey, Miranda, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you for sure. Hope you're well. Hope your daughter's well too. I know your daughter was not feeling good the last time I talked to you. Miranda Lee's awesome. She's always always welcome here. She's a great person. I haven't seen Jenny 8675309 lately either. I hope Jenny's okay. Who else haven't I seen in here for a while? I haven't seen Gail. I hope Gail's doing all right.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Kim.
This story here is just insane. This is just unexcusable here.
Kimberly Hunt and my co-anchor Wally Aliu is on assignment. The federal prison in Dublin in Alameda County was known as the Rape Club by corrections employees who abused inmates. The prison's former warden and their staff are now behind bars. As Team 10's Austin Grabish shows us, victims are now.
So let me see if I can read some of this. A survivor of the infamous prison in Northern California that was dubbed the RAPE Club is she shared her story to this couple of different channels here. But this whole case here, this whole thing is just nothing but pieces of dog shit, literally.
Being compensated in a historic multi-million-dollar settlement.
I'm broken, trying to fix myself, trying to love myself again.
The pain is still fresh for Denora.
Going to prison, yes, I put myself in there, but I didn't sign up, get abused, threatened.
The mother of three is trying to heal.
If you're in my shoes, at the moment, you're nothing. You belong to them. They have your body, your mind.
She's a survivor of the infamous Dublin prison east of San Francisco.
I was molested, forced to do things I didn't want to.
It's ABC 10 News' policy not to name victims of sexual assault without their permission. Denora has asked that we only use her first name in this story. Sexual abuse at the facility was so rampant, staff dubbed it the Rape Club.
There was nowhere safe, not the library, not your shower, not even your room, your counselor.
The lawsuit says the warden took interest in you right away.
So you say a couple of things that you went through, what you did before being there and what you do now. And that's where they get your weakness and everything they can use against you.
Denora, who used to live in San Diego County, says the abuse by corrections staff began shortly after she started serving her 6-year sentence in 2018 for running drugs over the border.
It was an everyday thing, dancing, stripping, being scared of going to the shower because they're going to come in and look at you naked.
Did any of the female guards ever intervene?
No.
The lawsuit says that one of the guards said, I know you will be deported. I can find you.
They will say, we know where you're from, Sinaloa. We got people too. So of course I'm gonna be afraid.
At the center of the abuse, Warden Ray Garcia. A recently settled federal lawsuit says he forced Denora to perform oral sex on him and during his rounds would make her dance naked. When it wasn't the warden, it was prison guards with sexual demands. The lawsuit says one officer with a vulgar nickname was, quote, notoriously perverted and threatened Denora.
And were you able to speak out at all when you were still inside and this was happening?
No, scared of retaliation. You couldn't say anything. Imagine getting threatened every day. You want to see your kids? You want phone calls? You want your visits? Or you want to go to the shoe?
And get this, Garcia wasn't just the head honcho at the prison.
I thought I forbade you to go to the hospital again. I hope you're well. Miranda. What the fuck? Paula, okay, so Paula says, I love you all, and I may do another live soon on my channel, but I need to go to bed. See you on the next. Paula, you're awesome. I'll have to look for. I have to check that out. Let me know when that's going to happen. Paula here. Paula's amazing. Paula's an amazing person. Check out her channel, Paula Fitzhenry. I'm pretty sure that Southern Gal put it somewhere in the chat in here. Yeah, I wonder where Gail is. I haven't seen Gail around at all. She was here a couple weeks ago, or is that the different Gail? Another storm? The chickens are back in the kitchen? Aren't the chickens supposed to be in the kitchen? I'll have to keep an eye out for that video, Paula, because I've been having a problem with my notifications lately. Yeah, these people are just the sickest people you could ever imagine on the planet. They take their control and they're a new level. They just belong in society at all, period. Oh, good. I don't know why John Paul never stays. He's a good guy.
Then he was also in charge of enforcing a federal law at Dublin meant to deter sexual abuse of inmates.
He, the person in charge with preventing rape in prison, was one of the prime culprits perpetuating the rape in prison.
San Diego civil rights attorney Gene Iredale represented Denora in the lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons.
This case was historic.
I'm telling you, you just want to take a baseball bat to some of these guys. I'm telling you right now, it makes you angry. It just does.
In the sense that there has never been a case involving the exposure of such widespread, long-lasting, and frequent abuse in a prison institution.
I have zero respect for anybody like this. Heather E's in here. Hey, Heather E, how are you? Good to see you. The chickens are absolutely not meant to be in the kitchen. I bring the girls in when it's bad. They're going out in the terrible winds. I built their coop. Well, let's hope. I'll have to check on that storm for you. It's good to see Heather E in here. JP. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. I hope Jenny 8675309 is okay. That's what I hope.
Get the sense from reading the court documents that these men thought they were untouchable.
They did think they were untouchable.
The abuse was so rampant, the FBI raided the prison last.
And the thing is you know how hard it is to crack the whip on these guys? You know how hard it is to come with a case against prison officials, and it's almost impossible because you're dealing with people who basically hold the law and are supposed to uphold the law, and who's going to go against these people? It's just to get that done, right?
Last year, Garcia, the prison's chaplain, and multiple guards have since been convicted of sexually abusing inmates. The federal government recently agreed to pay nearly $116 million to settle lawsuits from over 100 victims, including 3 women in San Diego. Denora is getting $1.4 million.
That's not justice for me. No. I have that scar and I'm going to keep it for the rest of my life.
Back in Northern California, where the abuse happened, the Dublin prison is now closed. But the memories of the terror inside will live on. Austin Grabish, Team 10.
It's disgusting. It's just, you can't, like I said, you just can't make this stuff up. It's just so sick. It's these people, like I said, they're baseball bats. I know a woman that is from Peru, and she said the chick literally ran around. Um, so let's go down to Florida here. I want to, well, let's play this first because I do want to play a couple of seconds of this here. Hold on a second. Let me get back up. All right, let me play this here, and then I'll look for some weather. Am I frozen? I don't think so.
Stunning revelations.
Okay, so I wanted to play this too. This is Bryan Kohberger here. Kohberger's lawyers want some of the DNA dismissed with the Frank's motion here. Kohberger's lawyers reveal details of a surviving roommate's interview with authorities in the aftermath of the. They're trying to get her testimony kind of squashed here. So
In a Boise courtroom, as Bryan Kohberger's defense team tries to paint the investigation as flawed and shrouded in secrecy in an effort to get key evidence thrown out.
This is a situation where this identification was done in complete secrecy.
I don't know what's going on with the internet lately here. It's just really weird. Sorry about that. Apologize. Thank you. Thank you, Heather Brown. So this is the Kohberger thing here, but they're trying to get some of this. They're trying to do the same thing that they did in Delphi. So this is they're trying to get the interview from the roommate. Some of this information is starting to come out now with the inmate, not the inmate, the roommate's interview that she told police, and then she changed her mind afterwards.
Secret behind closed doors.
The former PhD student accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death in an off-campus home, while his lead defense attorney, Ann Taylor, reveals details of a surviving roommate's interview with authorities in the aftermath of the gruesome quadruple homicide.
There are 2 references to not remembering. A couple of days later, there's the 3rd interview, and there's references to not remembering, being drunk, a statement, I don't know any of it. Like half this stuff, I don't know if it's a dream or if it's real. And credibility is really, really important when that person is relied on in the investigation.
Taylor added the roommate told police she had been drinking and that she also heard one of the victims come up and down the stairs during the time of the attack.
They know that fact is wrong.
Taylor says that information was never provided to the judge at the time, laying the groundwork for her to question the beginning of the investigation and collection of evidence, including found a button snap of a knife at the crime scene. Authorities using investigative genetic genealogy to link Kohberger to the crime, a tactic Taylor has long argued is flawed.
Investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG, is the process by which law enforcement will take a sample of DNA and initially probably run it through what's called CODIS, a federal criminal database. But if there's no hit there, then law enforcement can take that DNA to a genetic genealogy database and see if they can take information from that database to see if that sample is related to someone.
Koberger's DNA was later matched to trash pulled from the Pennsylvania neighborhood where he was with his parents when arrested. Koberger's lawyers, who say he is innocent, accuse the FBI.
When you have the FBI telling the trash man what to do.
An individual has no expectation of privacy as to what they throw out into the trash. And so law enforcement wouldn't need to get a warrant to check what they call as an abandonment sample.
The prosecution countering, saying no rights were violated and that they relayed the evidence based on what they knew at the time.
And there is nothing obtained that was obtained in violation of any of the defendant's constitutional rights. The defendant has wholly failed to establish a single false statement or omission without which the magistrate would not have found probable cause.
The proceedings for most of the first day, cameras turned back on briefly, and the family of Kaylee Gonzalez forced to watch a live stream in the courthouse. Hearings.
So let's hope that stuff is, this is going to be a tough case. I mean, I've been saying that a long time. It's not going to be as easy as people think it is. And well, I think it's in August, right? That's the slated for the Koberger case, but we'll see what happens. I know they're trying to get some of the DNA evidence thrown out. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's always a possibility. All right, so I'm going to do this here really quick, and then we'll get out of here. Let me stop sharing that. And who would have thought, right? Like, yeah. Okay, go to the bathroom. Don't forget to leave a quarter. All right, so when this is this Sunshine State, and this happened this week too. I know Louisiana got hit too, but this is just like bizarre. This is going to cost them a lot. I don't know if they got a freeze, but this is snow in Florida, as far down as Gainesville, I think. That's amazing.
Pensacola there, the bridge there spanning the water as the
This is Pensacola, Florida. They can have it.
Handle and some parts of North Florida are faced with some rare winter snowy weather thanks to that snowstorm that made its way across that region, and it's moving on out right now, but it's left behind some snow. Let's get a look at some new video coming into our newsroom of the rare winter phenomenon. You see,
no, this is not Minnesota. No, this is not New England. No, this is not this is Florida.
this neighborhood just east of Pensacola getting covered by fluffy snowfall yesterday afternoon. And you could see that was a similar case across a big part of the northern part of the state.
The trees down here are probably going, what the fuck is this shit?
Sunshine State.
Pardon the French.
Most of the time. That's the new slogan.
This
right?
is going to go down in the history books for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
right?
Making a lot of memories. Probably a lot of people up there, first time experiencing.
It's like Trump plants there dealing.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. Let's talk to Adam Berg about this weather and how it's going to affect us in a few days.
Yeah. And guys, there's some apps that we haven't used before, right?
I'm sure there's a bunch of people down in Florida, though, that are like, we'll take it for a couple days. But hopefully it's good. But I mean, it gets so hot in Florida and stuff like that. A little bit of cold weather is not bad. Some people down here actually enjoy it. But it was snowing pretty good.
We've got cold weather advisories in this teal color. Cold weather.
This was done a few days ago when it really, I mean, this whole, they have freeze warnings all the way down to Tampa, I think.
Warnings and how cold. On top of that, we've got snow alerts remaining as well. Winter storm warnings in this pink color, winter weather advisories. And
I mean, I've been to Georgia before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility to get cold weather in Georgia. It gets cold. North Carolina can get really cold. South Carolina, once you start getting down below Jacksonville, it starts to, like, if it's going to get cold, once you get below Jacksonville, it kind of really heats up a little. When you get Miami, it's, it could be 30 degrees up here in Jacksonville. And once you get to Miami, it's like 90. So, but this is still rare down here.
In purple. So yeah, I'm saying it's a little on the cold and wintry side, no doubt about it. How about the snow for the panhandle of Florida? You've been hearing about it for days. Yeah, we picked up snow in Tallahassee. We picked up snow across the panhandle of Florida here. The last time we saw measurable snow, 2018. So it doesn't seem that dramatic. But before that, it was 30 years, right? So this is only the second time really in about 35 years that we've seen measurable snow.
Jet stream this year is just incredible. This is going to probably be a record cold January for up here. It's been, January gets cold, right? It gets cold up here in New England, but to be minus like this for so many days in a row, it's got to be a record. It has to be. But down here, it gets cold in Florida. Northern Florida gets cold, but not down as far as, Gainesville, stuff like that, Tampa, rare. It's rare to see that.
Snow in places like Tallahassee. Where's it snowing right now? Still snowing a little bit here in places like Brunswick, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, which sits right here. Jacksonville, just a chilly rain for you. And the Carolinas continue to see some snow. Now for us, we have a front that's in the process of pushing through. And as it does so, it should clear out some of this fog that we've been dealing with. But right now, as far
This is my favorite city in the entire world right there, Naples, Florida. It's just amazing.
as active weather, rain and that sort of thing, we've got showers north of us and probably a story.
I just wanted to show that. That was, it was fucking snowing. I think it's funny.
Now giving you a live look out there in Pensacola. You can see a beautiful blanket of snow, but if you peek really closely, you can see there is ice packed under. That's why Florida spent much of Tuesday preparing for this significant bout of winter weather. It's the most winter weather since 1989. Airports closing and officials calling for residents in the Western Panhandle to stay off the.
You dove into so I seriously dove into the big lake in Michigan in March once. That's amazing. I'm not doing that. I'm surprised you didn't end up in the hospital. Yeah. He found it invigorating. Some people do that. My niece did that. She went to the what do they call it? The ice capades or whatever they call them. The ice. They all go to the beach and run into the water in the middle of the winter time. Not me, bruh. That's not happening. I love warm weather. I don't like cold weather at all. Period.
The roads, and you can see why with that big blanket of ice there on your screen. I want to show you some of the latest video that we have to provide for 5 inches to even 12 inches reported around Pensacola Tuesday evening.
You heard 12 inches of snow in Pensacola
Tuesday evening. And as you can imagine, this led to troopers to shut down a nearly 70-mile stretch of Interstate 10. The National Weather Service offices along the corridor issuing a rare winter storm warning for counties from Pensacola to Jacksonville, warning of snow and ice accumulations that can make travel hazardous. And you can see why this video on your screen showing the snow as it continues to come down and pack down. And you can see everyone literally using one lane of traffic.
Snow down here, I'm sure, is not that bad of a deal. It's if they get any type of, of an icing before, because usually the temperatures will drop, and as they drop, when it rains or when it starts as rain, anyways, once it starts to freeze, on these highways down here, on these roads, you would never be able to see that kind of black ice that would form here. But anyways, I thought this was kind of hilarious.
That has been used to help, of course, make your travel a
Polar bear
little
plunge.
easier,
That's it.
but once you don't have that many vehicles on that stretch, it then gets icy again. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis issuing a state of emergency ahead of the wintry mess, saying that for communities in the Panhandle, the wintry mess could be record-breaking. Now let's break down the record. We know the all-time greatest snowfall in the Sunshine State was 4 inches in Milton outside of Pensacola. This was back on March 6th of 1954, which was eclipsed Tuesday by tallies around Pensacola. Utility providers across the I-10 corridor preparing for these weather-related outages, which would likely occur if we do see ice already underway this slide.
All right, so that's that. It's just like, if you're a northerner, man, you love this stuff because of all things. I mean, this happened in Louisiana too this week. Is again, the other thing too, it is just a temporary container. The thing is that when it melts, that's possible flooding thing there, but I don't think they got that much to do that. But I just think it's classic. I called my mom. I'm like, "How's the snow down there?" Hung up on me. All right, I'm a kidder. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Been here 3 hours. Oh my god, I gotta get out of here. Yeah, a lot of who would have thought, right? Just all right, Heather Brown, you're awesome. I'm glad that the test came back good for you. Sucks you got to go through some sort of surgery, but glad you don't have this thing. Lisa Joe, you're awesome. Thank you. I'm going to try to do some on the Barbara Cotton thing. Give me a couple weeks, but you're awesome. Thank you very much for coming in. Miranda Lee, you're great. Thank you so much. I hope you're okay. Woman Doing Chaos, you're great. Thank you. But I look forward to doing something, live, maybe with Southern Gal and Farmer. Farmer's awesome. Heather E., you're awesome. Thank you for coming in. Maybe Arctic Fox. Jocelyn, you're great. Thank you so much. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Farmer's a good guy. Go check out his channel if you want. Sub up to him. He's good. Him and Miranda Lee put it in there again. Thank you, Miranda Lee. Right there. Him and Cryptex are great. Good programming right there. Who else was in here? I know Honeybee was in here. Honeybee is amazing. Honeybee is an amazing person. She's got her Billy the Kid video, and I think she did another one. If I find it, I'll have to repost it in there. Charlotte, you're amazing. Thank you. Charlotte, you're great. You're always welcome in here. Charlotte's amazing. Lisa Joe, thank you for coming in. I know that who else? I'm going to forget. Southern Gal, you're amazing. Thank you for everything you do in here in the chat. Southern Gal is arguably one of the greatest people on the planet. Mino Dino, thank you for coming in. Mino Dino's awesome. Thanks for having your battery in your phone last longer tonight. Heather Brown, I said hi to Heather Brown. Heather Brown, you're great. Who else was in here? Jocelyn, you're awesome. Thank you, Jocelyn. I think I already said it. I'm going to miss people. Sorry. Let's see here. I haven't seen Barbara around for a while either. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody who watches on the replay. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I can't scroll all the way up to the Mar was in here. Mar R was in here. Thank you, Mar R. You're awesome. If you want to wrench, let me know. Farmer, if you want to wrench, let me know too, so you can post your channel in here. That's it. I'm out of here. I'm going to get out of here. So I'll play my outro and I'll get out of here. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for staying up late with me. Check out Farmer's channel. He's great. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good week. Stay safe. Don't die. Mustang 65. Thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it. All right. So let me play my outro and I'll get out of here. Good luck.
you